Hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's tranquil retreat. As the warm crackle of the fire fills the air, we find ourselves in the heart of ancient Egypt, where time flowed like the slow current of the Nile. The bustling cities and towering monuments fade into the background, and we enter a world of quiet precision, where the life of a scribe unfolds in the stillness of the day. Picture yourself, seated by the gentle glow of the fire, the soft crackle in the background, as we take you to a time when the rhythm of daily life was marked not by the rush of politics, but by the steady, deliberate strokes of ink on papyrus. Tonight, we step into the life of Sesha, a scribe in ancient Egypt, whose hands record the stories and deeds of a kingdom that echoes through the ages. Before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you find comfort in these quiet journeys through the past. And feel free to drop a comment. Let me know where you're joining from and what time it is in your part of the world. It's always wonderful to see how far these calming tales can travel. Now, relax and settle in. Dim the lights, listen to the soothing sound of the fire, and let the world around you fade away. There's no rush tonight, only the soft rhythmic flow of a day in ancient Egypt, the life of Sesha, and a world of tranquility that few get to witness. As the first light of dawn gently stretches across the land, we find ourselves in the quiet chambers of Sesha, a humble scribe in ancient Egypt. The soft golden hues of the sun begin to creep through the small window, casting long, peaceful shadows across the room. The air is cool and still, carrying the scent of the Nile and the earth that surrounds this tranquil home. Sesha slowly awakens from a night of restful sleep, the quiet hum of the world outside barely reaching his ears. There is no rush, no hurry, just the peaceful calm of early morning. The soft crackle of the fire in the corner of the room continues its steady rhythm, adding warmth to the cool, quiet space. The world outside is still, with only the faint rustling of the reeds along the river's edge breaking the silence. Sesha stretches slowly, his body gently waking from the stillness of the night. He feels the warmth of the sun's first rays as they touch his skin, a quiet reminder that the day has begun. Without haste, he sits up, the simple linen sheets falling away as he places his feet on the cool stone floor. The room is sparsely furnished, just the essentials, yet every corner holds the quiet dignity of a life well lived. He rises from the bed, his movements slow and deliberate, almost meditative. The room is bathed in a soft glow as the light grows stronger, and he walks over to a wooden chest, carefully lifting the lid. Inside, he pulls out the simple tunic and loincloth that make up his daily attire. The fabric is worn but well kept, a testament to the quiet care he gives to everything in his life. As he slips into his clothes, each movement is measured and calm, a familiar routine that helps center his thoughts. His fingers move gently, pulling the tunic over his head, adjusting it with precision, as though every fold and wrinkle must be just right. This is a moment of simple peace, where no distractions exist, and all that matters is the quiet preparation for the day ahead. Sesha takes a moment to stand by the window, looking out over the vast, endless desert beyond the walls of his home. The sky above is painted with the soft pastels of dawn, the light slowly brightening as the world begins to stir. Yet he remains still, holding on to this fleeting moment of calm. He breathes deeply, the air cool and crisp, filled with the promise of a new day. There is no rush, there is no hurry. As he turns away from the window, ready to begin the work that will fill the rest of his day, the first birds begin to sing their soft morning songs. The world is slowly waking up, but for now, it is just Sesha and the quiet. He feels the steady rhythm of his own breath, the quiet flow of his thoughts, and the gentle pull of the day ahead. The first task will come soon enough, but for now, he is content to linger in the serenity of the morning, allowing time to move slowly in its own peaceful rhythm. As the sun rises higher in the sky, casting its golden glow over the land, Sesha takes his place at the small wooden table in the corner of his modest home. The room is still bathed in soft light, and the gentle warmth of the morning sun fills the space, creating a quiet comfort that lingers in the air. The day has officially begun, yet the world outside remains calm and unhurried. Sesha's breakfast is simple, as it always is. There's no need for extravagance or haste. He sits down, taking a deep breath, letting the calmness of the morning wash over him as he gathers the small pieces of bread before him. The bread, slightly crusty and still warm from the previous night's baking, is just enough to nourish him for the day ahead. He breaks off a piece of the bread, the soft texture crumbling gently between his fingers, and brings it to his lips. The taste is plain but satisfying, a quiet reminder of the simple joys that life offers. Alongside the bread sits a small bowl of milk, cool and refreshing, its surface still calm from where Sesha had poured it earlier. The milk is smooth and soothing, and as he takes a sip, it settles his thoughts, allowing him a moment of peace before the day's tasks begin. The room is silent, save for the gentle sound of Sesha's breathing and the occasional soft clink of the bowl as he sets it down. Outside, the faint sound of the Nile's current flows, adding to the tranquility of the morning. The air is crisp, yet filled with warmth as it enters through the window, carrying the distant hum of a waking world. But inside, it is just Sesha and his meal, simple, nourishing, and calm. There is no rush. Sesha eats slowly, savouring each bite, allowing his thoughts to drift as he reflects on the day ahead. His mind is not clouded by worry, nor hurried by obligation. In this quiet moment, he is content with the simplicity of the meal before him, the gentle rhythm of his own movements, and the peacefulness of the morning that stretches out before him. He takes another sip of milk, the coolness refreshing his senses, and lets out a soft sigh, feeling at ease in the stillness. The fire in the corner continues to crackle, a constant companion to the quiet of the room. The sounds of the outside world remain distant, as though the world itself is taking a moment to rest. As Sesha finishes his meal, he lingers for a while, sitting in silence. There is no need to hurry. The day will unfold in its own time, and there will be plenty of moments to come. For now, it is enough to enjoy this simple meal, this moment of calm, and the soft, slow pace of the world around him. As the morning sun continues to bathe the room in soft, golden light, Sesha rises from his simple table, his meal now finished. The air is still, filled with the gentle hum of the world outside, but in this quiet space, all that matters is the task ahead. Today, like every day, Sesha will prepare the tools he needs for his work. He moves with calm precision, each motion deliberate and peaceful, as though he is performing a ritual that requires quiet care. In a small wooden chest nearby, Sesha keeps his tools, his papyrus, his ink, his brushes, and his pens. He opens the chest with a slow, careful movement, and the soft creak of the wood fills the silence of the room. The papyrus lies folded neatly inside, its surface still smooth, awaiting the first stroke of the day's work. Sesha takes the papyrus in his hands, feeling its texture against his fingertips. It is thin, yet sturdy, a material that has withstood the passage of time. He unrolls a section of it, smoothing it out across his table with a practiced hand. The quiet sound of the papyrus unfurling fills the room, adding a soft rustling to the peaceful atmosphere. Next, Sesha turns his attention to the ink. He picks up a small jar filled with deep, rich black ink, its surface still and undisturbed. With a steady hand, he opens the lid and gently dips his brush into the ink. The bristles of the brush absorb the ink with ease, and he watches the way the liquid coats each hair, creating a dark, smooth pool at the tip. With a slow, measured movement, he brings the brush to the papyrus. The first touch of the bristles on the surface is soft and delicate, and Sesha pauses for a moment to appreciate the silence around him. There is no rush here, no demand for speed, just the quiet, calming rhythm of preparing for the task at hand. Sesha dips the brush again, this time with a little more ink, and begins to gently stroke the surface of the papyrus. Each stroke is careful, thoughtful, as though every line he creates holds meaning. The brush moves slowly, as if the very act of writing is part of a peaceful dance. The sound of the bristles against the papyrus is soft, like a whisper in the stillness. He sets the brush down and picks up his pen, a small, slender tool that he uses to write finer details. The pen is smooth in his hand, and as he tests it on the edge of the papyrus, the ink flows effortlessly from the tip, leaving a steady, consistent line. Sesha nods to himself, satisfied. The tools are ready, and the work can begin. For a few moments, Sesha simply sits there, looking over the tools before him. The papyrus is now prepared, the ink settled, and the brush resting in place. There is a peace in the act of preparation, in knowing that the day ahead will unfold slowly and steadily, just as it always does. He takes a deep breath, feeling the quiet comfort of the room, and with one last glance at his tools, Sesha begins. The slow, steady rhythm of his writing begins, but for now, the focus remains on the simple and calming act of preparing for what is to come. With his tools now prepared, Sesha moves slowly toward the small, quiet corner of his home that serves as his workspace. The morning light filters gently through the window, casting soft beams across the room. Outside, the world continues on in its usual calm rhythm, but within these four walls, time seems to slow even further. The space is simple, nothing more than a small wooden table set near the window. There are no grand decorations, no excess, just the essentials. The table, worn by years of use, sits in the corner, surrounded by the silence of the room. It is the perfect place for work, away from distractions, where Sesha can focus entirely on his writing. Sesha steps into the room, his feet making the faintest sound on the cool stone floor. He pauses for a moment, surveying the space. The room is still, peaceful, as if waiting for the day's work to begin. The faint smell of papyrus and ink hangs in the air, adding to the sense of calm that fills the space. He moves toward the table, his hands resting gently on its surface. It is smooth but marked by the subtle traces of years of use, each scratch and stain a reminder of the quiet labour that has taken place here. Sesha runs his fingers over the wood, feeling its texture, grounding himself in the moment. On the table beside him, a small oil lamp sits, its glass surface slightly cloudy from use. He picks it up carefully, and with a slow, deliberate motion begins to trim the wick. The soft sound of the wick being adjusted fills the silence of the room. The flame flickers for a moment, then steadies, casting a soft, warm light that dances gently across the walls. This small, steady flame will light his way as he works, a constant companion throughout the day. Next, Sesha arranges his tools on the table with quiet precision. The papyrus is placed just to the left of the lamp, its surface ready to receive the ink. His brush rests beside it, with the slender pen neatly placed next to the ink jar. Everything is in its place, just as it should be, ready for the work that lies ahead. He steps back, takes a deep breath, and surveys the scene. The space is simple, but it feels right. It is calm, serene, and quiet, the perfect environment for the work he must do. The gentle glow of the oil lamp and the soft rustle of the papyrus are all that fill the room now, and Sesha feels a deep sense of peace settle within him. For a moment, he simply stands there, his eyes moving from one item to the next, each part of the room contributing to the overall tranquility of the space. There are no distractions here, no interruptions. Everything is in its place, and everything feels just as it should. Sesha knows that as the day unfolds, his work will be steady and slow, like the rhythm of the world outside. The room is ready, the tools are prepared, and now it is time for the next step in the day's quiet journey to begin. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, casting its gentle rays across the room, Sesha settles into his small wooden chair, now positioned comfortably before the table. The quiet of the morning lingers, and he feels the steady rhythm of the day begin to unfold. The oil lamp flickers softly, its light a calming presence in the corner of the room. The papyrus lies before him, its surface smooth and ready to receive his careful writing. Sesha dips his brush into the ink, the liquid coating the bristles with a deep, dark hue. The moment feels timeless, as though nothing has changed in all the years he has done this. The first stroke of the brush touches the papyrus, a gentle whisper of movement, as Sesha begins to write the first notes of the day. There is no rush, no sense of urgency. He writes slowly, carefully, his hand moving in steady, flowing strokes. Each word is placed with intention, as though each symbol he writes carries with it a piece of the world he is recording. The rhythm of his hand against the papyrus is soothing, a soft whisper of movement that fills the quiet room. The words he writes are simple, notes of daily affairs, small tasks to be completed, the comings and goings of the family or the kingdom. The records are not complex, but they hold the essence of the world around him, the subtle moments that may otherwise go unnoticed. As he writes, Sesha feels a sense of calm, knowing that these simple records are an important part of a larger unseen world. His brush moves in a slow, deliberate rhythm, dipping in ink before touching the papyrus again. Each stroke is steady, controlled, adding to the quiet tapestry of the day. The sound of the brush against the papyrus is soft, almost imperceptible, as though it, too, is a part of the silence that surrounds him. Sesha pauses for a moment, taking a deep breath. The room is still, save for the faint scratching of the brush against the paper. He looks over the words he has written so far, ensuring that they are neat and clear. The process is meditative, the quiet routine grounding him in the moment. The steady rhythm of his writing, the slow pace of his movements, is a gentle reminder that there is no need to hurry, no need to rush. With each new line, Sesha's mind remains calm. The world outside continues on in its quiet way, but inside this room, time moves slowly, allowing him to fully immerse himself in the task at hand. The simple act of writing becomes a peaceful journey in itself, a way to connect with the present moment, to capture the details of life that may otherwise be lost. As the first notes of the day are recorded, Sesha feels a deep sense of satisfaction. The work has begun, but there is no rush to complete it. The day will unfold in its own time, as each word and each stroke of the brush adds to the peaceful rhythm of the hours that stretch out ahead. The room is still, bathed in the soft light of the morning, and Sesha continues his work. The rhythmic scratching of his brush against the papyrus fills the quiet space, yet there is no hurry, no rush. Every motion is slow, deliberate, and purposeful. Today, like every day, Sesha must carefully write the symbols that have been passed down for generations, hieroglyphs, the sacred and ancient script of his people. Sesha dips his brush into the ink once again, his fingers steady and calm. He lifts the brush with grace and brings it gently to the papyrus. The bristles make contact with the surface, and the first stroke of the hieroglyph appears. It is delicate, precise, a symbol so familiar to Sesha that it feels like second nature. The ancient shapes, each representing a sound, a word, or a concept, take form slowly, one careful line at a time. He moves with such focus and precision, as though the very act of writing these symbols connects him to the past. The hieroglyphs are more than just symbols. They are a link to the wisdom and history of his people. Each stroke is imbued with meaning, and Sesha feels a deep sense of reverence as he writes. His brush flows effortlessly, each line curving and turning with a quiet elegance that mirrors the peace of the moment. As he writes, Sesha takes a moment to pause, his eyes scanning the symbols he has just formed. Each one is a work of art in its own right, and he takes pride in the precision with which they are written. The brush moves slowly as if in perfect harmony with the gentle flow of time. The careful attention to detail is essential. Each hieroglyph must be just right. Each line must be perfect, for these symbols are not just words. They are a reflection of the world itself. The quiet clicking of the brush as it touches the papyrus is like a soft whisper in the room. The motion is fluid and controlled, the ink dark and rich against the pale surface of the papyrus. With every stroke, Sesha's mind remains calm, his thoughts clear. There is no distraction, no need to hurry, only the steady rhythm of the brush in his hand and the quiet unfolding of the day. As he continues, Sesha reflects on the beauty of these ancient symbols. Each one is so simple yet so full of depth, telling stories of gods and kings, of life and death, of wisdom and knowledge. He marvels at how something so seemingly simple can carry the weight of history. With every symbol he writes, He feels a quiet connection to those who came before him, those who also labored over these sacred symbols, preserving them for future generations. The brush moves across the papyrus with ease, creating each symbol with the care and precision it deserves. Sesha's hand remains steady, the movement slow and fluid, as though the very act of writing has become a meditative process. He feels the peaceful rhythm of the task, a rhythm that mirrors the calm of the room, the stillness of the morning, and the gentle flow of time itself. The hieroglyphs begin to fill the page one by one, each carefully crafted with patience and reverence. The room is filled only with the sound of the brush, the ink, and the faint rustling of the papyrus as it shifts beneath Sesha's hand. There's no need for words, no need for sound, just the quiet, precise act of creation. And so, Sesha continues, lost in the calm beauty of the work before him, the world outside forgotten for a while as he focuses solely on the art of the hieroglyphs. There is nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. The symbols take shape in the soft light of the oil lamp, their ancient meaning unfolding in the quiet stillness of the room. The soft glow of the oil lamp flickers gently in the corner of the room, casting quiet shadows across the table. Sesha's brush rests still beside him, the papyrus spread out before him, but for now the words do not come. The morning has passed in its slow, deliberate rhythm, and now there is nothing to do but wait. Outside, the world continues on, its rhythm steady and unhurried, but within this small, quiet room, time seems to move even slower. The air is still, cool, and the faint scent of ink lingers in the space around him. Sesha sits back in his chair, his eyes softly tracing the curves of the hieroglyphs he has already written. The work is done for now. He has completed what he can, and now he must wait for the word from his superiors, the message or instruction that will guide him to the next task of the day. He rests his hands lightly on the table, fingers curling gently around the edges of the papyrus, his gaze fixed on the door. There is no impatience in him, only a calm, quiet acceptance of the stillness. The waiting is a part of the process, as much a part of the work as the writing itself. In this moment, there is no rush, no pressure. The world outside may be filled with noise and activity, but here, in this space, time stretches out before him like the vast desert beyond the city walls, endless, serene, and patient. Sesha closes his eyes for a moment, breathing deeply, feeling the stillness around him settle into his bones. His mind is clear, untroubled, and the quiet hum of his thoughts drifts gently, like a calm river. The waiting is not a burden, it is a part of the work, a time to reflect, to gather his thoughts, to prepare for whatever task may come next. He has learned over the years to embrace these moments, to find peace in the silence. There are no distractions, no interruptions in this still room. The sounds of the world outside are distant, muted by the thick stone walls of his home. All that remains is Sesha, his tools, and the soft flicker of the oil lamp. The papyrus is spread before him, waiting to be filled with more words, more symbols, but for now, it remains empty. And so, Sesha waits. His thoughts drift slowly as he observes the light shifting in the room, the way the shadows lengthen as the sun moves higher in the sky. He watches the steady flicker of the flame, feeling its warmth without needing to reach for it. It is a quiet moment, one that requires nothing but his presence, and he is content. Minutes pass. Hours could slip by unnoticed in such a space. In the stillness, Sesha feels the pull of patience, the quiet satisfaction of knowing that everything has its time. When the order comes, it will come. There is no need to hurry it, for now he will wait. His mind stays calm, his hands relaxed, and his heart at peace. The world outside may bustle with activity, but within the walls of this small room there is only the peaceful waiting for the next word, the next task, and the quiet comfort of knowing that there is no rush in life. The room is calm, and the quiet flicker of the oil lamp casts a warm, gentle glow across the table. Sesha has been working steadily, yet now he pauses for a moment, drawing a deep, slow breath as he shifts his focus to something more profound. Before him lies an ancient text, one that he must read, understand, and eventually copy. The papyrus is old, its edges curling slightly from age, its surface worn by the passage of time. Yet, despite its age, it carries within it knowledge, wisdom, and stories that have been passed down through generations. Sesha's fingers hover gently over the surface of the papyrus, his eyes scanning the ancient script. The characters are familiar, yet each one carries a layer of meaning that requires careful attention. He begins to read, his eyes moving slowly from one symbol to the next, his mind immersing itself in the rhythmic flow of the words. The quiet scratch of his brush against the papyrus fades into the background as he focuses entirely on the text before him. Each line is a puzzle, a fragment of history waiting to be understood. Sesha reads with patience, allowing the meaning of the symbols to sink into his thoughts. There is no rush, no need to hurry. The text is not something to be quickly passed over. It requires reflection, understanding, and a deep appreciation for its meaning. As he reads, Sesha becomes absorbed in the ancient words, their wisdom and stories unfolding slowly in his mind. The room around him is quiet, save for the faint rustling of the papyrus as he carefully turns the page, each movement deliberate and slow. He's not simply reading, he's absorbing the essence of the text, letting its meaning settle gently within him. His eyes trace each symbol with intent, allowing the rhythm of the writing to guide him deeper into the text layers. There is something meditative about this process, something soothing in the way Sesha connects with the past through these ancient symbols. His mind flows in time with the script, each word unlocking another layer of understanding. He takes his time, pausing often to reflect, to think about the deeper meanings hidden within the words. There is no pressure to finish quickly, no expectation to complete the task in haste. In this quiet moment, Sesha simply exists with the text, letting it guide him as he moves through its timeless message. As the hours pass, the room remains still and the only sound is the soft rustling of the papyrus and the steady flicker of the oil lamp. Sesha's eyes grow slightly tired, but there is no hurry. He knows that the text will be there for as long as it takes to understand it fully. Each word and each symbol is carefully examined, as if Sesha is piecing together a puzzle of knowledge that will unlock new insights. He takes a brief pause, leaning back in his chair and reflecting on what he has read. The quiet stillness of the room feels comforting, the silence a space in which thoughts can settle and understanding can bloom. He lets the words linger in his mind, allowing their meaning to unfold further with each moment of reflection. After a time, Sesha picks up his brush again, ready to begin copying the text onto a new piece of papyrus. But this act of copying is not done quickly. He moves slowly, each stroke of the brush measured and deliberate, as if preserving the ancient words with the same care and respect with which he has read them. The process of reading and understanding the text has become a quiet journey, a journey that continues, not just through the words, but in the peaceful rhythm of Sesha's steady movements. And so, the day continues, with Sesha lost in the quiet contemplation of the ancient text before him. Time flows slowly, gently, like the ink that he dips his brush into, each symbol carefully written as he moves through the text, piece by piece, in a calm and reflective state. The morning light is soft, spilling gently through the window and casting delicate shadows across the room. Sesha sits at his small wooden table, the oil lamp flickering beside him, its steady light guiding his hands as he begins the next task of the day. The papyrus before him is crisp, its surface ready to be filled with words once more. But this time, the task is different. Before him lies an important document, a record of the kingdom's affairs, a note to be preserved for future generations. The symbols, already carefully written on another sheet of papyrus, now need to be copied with utmost care and precision. This is not a task to be rushed. It requires Sesha's full attention and steady hand, as every line must be identical to the original, every detail exactly as it should be. Sesha takes a moment to survey the document, his eyes tracing the carefully written hieroglyphs. The words are neat, organized, their meaning simple but significant. With a gentle breath, he picks up his brush dipping it into the ink with a slow, steady motion. The ink flows smoothly onto the brush, and the time has come for the task to begin. The first stroke is delicate, the tip of the brush touching the papyrus with a soft whisper. Seisha moves slowly, each line formed with careful deliberation. His focus is complete, his mind entirely present in the act of copying. The brush moves in steady, measured motions, each symbol transferred onto the papyrus with the same precision and care as the original. The quiet scratch of the brush against the surface of the papyrus is a soothing sound, repetitive yet comforting. Seisha's hand moves steadily, the rhythm of the strokes gentle and unhurried. There is no need to rush. The task before him requires patience, and he embraces it fully. As he works, he reflects on the importance of the document. The words he is copying are not just symbols, they are part of something larger, part of the kingdom's history, a record that must be preserved carefully. The room remains silent, save for the soft scratching of the brush. Time seems to stretch as Seisha continues, each line following the last with quiet determination. The world outside is distant, muted by the thick stone walls of his home. Within these walls there is only the steady rhythm of the work and the peaceful environment that surrounds him. As the hours pass, Seisha works with an unhurried grace, his brush moving with ease across the papyrus. Each stroke is made with care, each symbol transferred with the same thoughtful precision. He pauses occasionally, allowing his eyes to scan the work before him, ensuring the lines are perfect, the symbols clear. There is no rush, the work will take as long as it needs to, and Seisha is content to let time unfold at its own pace. The ink on his brush never falters, the movements of his hand flowing as smoothly as the quiet current of the Nile outside. With every new line, Seisha feels a sense of calm settle deeper within him. The act of copying becomes almost meditative, a peaceful rhythm that moves with the passing of time. The room is a quiet sanctuary, and the work itself becomes a moment of stillness, a time when the world outside can wait. As Seisha nears the end of the document, the process slows even further, the final symbols requiring even more focus and care. With each delicate stroke, he finishes the last line, the final symbol appearing on the papyrus with a gentle flourish. He sets the brush down, satisfied with the work. The document is complete, the original preserved and now mirrored in this new, carefully copied version. Seisha takes a deep breath, letting the stillness of the room surround him. He looks over the work he has done, neat, precise, and faithful to the original. There is a sense of quiet accomplishment in the air. The task, though simple, has been done with care and attention, and Seisha knows that the document will now be preserved, its words safe for another day. The room remains calm and quiet, and Seisha sits back in his chair, allowing the peacefulness of the moment to wash over him. Time has moved slowly, but the work is done, and the day continues at its own steady pace. The day has moved on, and the light outside has begun to soften, casting a gentle glow through the window. Seisha sits at his small table, the work before him quiet and still. The document he has copied is laid out neatly, the ink now dry, the symbols clear and precise. Yet, before he can continue with the next task, there is one final step to complete. He must check his work. Seisha's fingers rest lightly on the papyrus as he begins to examine the lines he has written. His eyes move slowly, carefully scanning each symbol, each stroke of ink. There is no rush now, no hurry. The room remains calm and quiet, the soft flicker of the oil lamp casting its steady light over the work, guiding his careful gaze. With a slow breath, Seisha begins the process of checking, his eyes moving from left to right, pausing on each symbol to ensure it is correct. He examines each line with the utmost care, his mind focused entirely on the task. His gaze is steady, reflecting the quiet determination to get everything just right. Every letter, every curve of the ink must be perfect. This is his way of honoring the work, honoring the task he's been given. He takes his time, never rushing. If a mistake is found, it is corrected gently, a slight touch of the brush, a careful adjustment. Seisha's hand moves slowly, deliberately, as he traces over the offending symbol with a soft stroke of ink, smoothing it into place. The ink flows easily, covering any imperfections with a subtle grace. The process is soothing, as if each correction adds another layer of tranquility to the room. With each correction, Sesha's mind remains calm, his thoughts clear. The simple act of ensuring the work is flawless brings a deep sense of peace to him. It is a task of quiet focus, a moment when time seems to stretch and pause, just as the work itself requires his full attention. The small imperfections in the lines are not mistakes, they are just part of the flow of work, reminders that perfection is often the result of gentle care and patience. The sound of the brush moving across the papyrus is soft and almost meditative. Each gentle stroke is a reminder that there is no hurry, no need to rush. The world outside can wait, as can the tasks of the day. In this moment, Sesha is content to remain focused, lost in the stillness of correcting his work. As he finishes checking the document, Sesha leans back in his chair for a moment, his eyes resting on the now perfect lines. The symbols are exact, the ink dark and smooth, each word aligned with the others in perfect harmony. The quiet satisfaction of completing the task fills the room with a gentle sense of accomplishment. The work is not rushed, nor is it perfect in the way that the world might expect, but it is complete, and that is enough. The quiet stillness returns to the room as Sesha takes a deep breath, feeling the peace of the moment settle into his bones. There are no more mistakes to correct, no more words to adjust. The task is done, and the room is filled with the soft hum of accomplishment, a quiet contentment that wraps around the space like a blanket. With a final glance at his work, Sesha stands and gently rolls the papyrus, carefully tying it with a piece of string. The task is complete, and the room feels calm, peaceful once more. The world outside may continue on with its noise and movement, but here, in this quiet room, time has slowed, and the work has been done with patience, care, and attention. The room is calm, and the soft light of the oil lamp flickers gently in the corner, casting a warm, golden glow over the work before Sesha. The papyrus is neatly rolled, and the brush has been set aside for now. The day has unfolded in its own slow, peaceful rhythm, but now Sesha finds a moment of quiet respite as he turns his attention to something a little different, an opportunity to share a moment with a fellow scribe. Sesha rises from his chair, stretching slowly, his limbs moving with quiet ease. He steps toward the door, the soft sound of his sandals against the cool stone floor barely audible in the stillness of the room. Outside, the world is calm, with only the distant murmur of life to be heard. People moving through their daily routines, the wind brushing softly against the reeds along the river. Sesha walks through the narrow, sunlit corridor that leads to the shared space where other scribes gather. It is a simple room, much like his own, a place where parchment is spread out, where ink is prepared, and where ideas are exchanged. There, across the room, he spots one of his colleagues, a fellow scribe named Kamet, sitting at a small table, his brow furrowed in quiet concentration as he works on a document of his own. Sesha approaches him slowly, making sure not to disturb the quiet flow of the room. He offers a gentle smile, and Kamet looks up, returning the gesture with a soft nod. Their conversation begins as if no words had been necessary to start it, just a shared understanding between two individuals who have spent many hours in this calm, steady routine of writing. "How is your work coming along today, Kamet?" Sesha asks, his voice low and calm, matching the peaceful atmosphere around them. Kamet responds with a thoughtful look in his eyes. "Slow, as usual," he says softly, "but steady. I've been reviewing some ancient texts, the ones from the far-off lands. Some of the symbols are tricky." Sesha nods, understanding the challenge. "Yes, the symbols from those regions can be elusive. I find that taking extra time to study each stroke, each curve, helps to make them clearer." Kamet's eyes brighten slightly, as if the thought had not occurred to him. Yes, of course. A little more patience. I tend to rush through them sometimes, hoping I can finish quickly, but perhaps I need to slow down, pay more attention." Sesha smiles, his voice gentle. "The work is not meant to be rushed. It's the steady, careful rhythm of it that makes the result worthwhile. Every stroke carries meaning. Every symbol tells a story. If we do not take the time to understand it fully, then we miss its depth. There is a quiet pause between them as the words settle in the air. Kamet looks at his work for a moment, his thoughts drifting as he reflects on Sesha's advice. The room around them is still, the quiet hum of their conversation filling the space with a comforting, steady rhythm. "I see," Kamet says after a moment, nodding slowly. "You are right. It is not just about completing the task. It is about preserving the knowledge, ensuring the message is clear for those who will read it after us." "Exactly," Sesha replies, his tone soft. "The knowledge we write down will outlast us. It is our responsibility to carry it carefully, with respect and patience." The conversation drifts into a comfortable silence, both scribes lost in their thoughts. They share a quiet understanding that needs no further explanation. It is a simple exchange, a gentle reminder of the value of their work and the importance of taking time with it. After a while, Sesha takes a step back, ready to return to his own work. "I'll leave you to your task, Kamet. May the symbols come easier to you now." Kamet smiles and nods, grateful for the conversation. "Thank you, Sesha. I'll take your words to heart." With a final, quiet exchange, Sesha returns to his room, the soft steps of his sandals echoing lightly in the stillness. The day moves on, but the simple conversation lingers in his mind, a quiet connection between two people who understand the delicate balance of work and patience. The room is still again, but the peaceful warmth of the moment carries on, filling the space with a quiet contentment that lingers long after the words have been spoken. The room is quiet, the air filled with the soft flicker of the oil lamp. Sesha sits at his small table, his hand resting lightly on the smooth surface of the papyrus before him. The day has unfolded in its own steady rhythm, but now a new task presents itself, a task of importance, a letter, a report to be written for the king or a high-ranking official. The weight of this responsibility is gentle but undeniable. Sesha takes a deep breath, letting the stillness of the room settle around him. The world outside carries on with its usual flow, but here, in this calm space, time seems to slow. The letter before him is not simply a message to be delivered, it is a piece of the kingdom's history, a communication that must be crafted with care, precision, and respect. He picks up his brush with a steady hand, dipping the fine bristles into the ink. The ink flows smoothly onto the brush, dark and rich, ready to bring the message to life. Sesha's thoughts are clear, focused on the task ahead. As he places the brush gently on the papyrus, the first stroke feels deliberate, measured. Each symbol must be perfect, each word carefully chosen. The letter must be formal, respectful, its tone reflecting the weight of the kingdom and the authority of the king. But Sesha is not daunted. He knows the importance of this task and takes comfort in the peaceful rhythm of the work. He writes slowly, carefully, letting the ink flow in the softest, most measured strokes. The brush moves across the papyrus in a steady, deliberate rhythm, each line falling into place with gentle precision. As he writes, Sesha's mind remains calm. He considers the words he chooses, the message he wishes to convey. His thoughts drift to the kingdom, to the leaders, to the people who will receive this letter. This letter is not just a communication, it is a part of the ongoing flow of life in the kingdom. The words he writes today will carry the intentions of the royal court, influencing decisions and actions far beyond the walls of his small room. Each symbol he writes carries a weight, a responsibility to ensure that the message is clear and that it reflects the dignity of the king. Sesha's hand moves gracefully, dipping the brush again as he writes the next line. The ink flows smoothly, the words forming with ease, though always with great care. The room remains quiet, save for the soft scratching of the brush against the papyrus. Time seems to stretch as Sesha works. The oil lamp flickers softly, casting a warm glow over the task at hand. There is no rush. There never is. The steady rhythm of his work mirrors the peaceful flow of time around him. As the words of the letter take shape, Sesha reflects on the importance of his role in the kingdom. He is not just a scribe, he is a keeper of messages, a recorder of history. The letters, the reports, the documents he writes all become part of the fabric of the kingdom's legacy, carried on for generations to come. Seisha pauses for a moment, stepping back to examine the letter he has written. The symbols are neat and precise, the tone appropriate and respectful. He breathes a soft sigh of contentment, knowing that his work will serve the kingdom, the royal court, and the people who rely on it. There is satisfaction in the simplicity of the task, in the quiet care that he has taken to ensure its perfection. With a final, gentle motion, Seisha sets the brush down. The letter is complete, and the room is filled with a peaceful stillness once again. The task has been done slowly, with great attention to detail, and the message is now ready to be delivered. The day continues, but the quiet calm of the room lingers. Seisha takes a moment to appreciate the simplicity of his work, the steady rhythm of his life, and the importance of the quiet tasks that sustain the kingdom's order. With a soft smile, he gently rolls the papyrus, preparing it for delivery, and the world outside slowly carries on its peaceful, unhurried course. The day moves gently forward, its pace unhurried and calm. Outside, the world continues to hum softly, but here, within the walls of his small room, Seisha feels the comforting stillness of time passing slowly. The task at hand calls for a brief journey, a quiet walk to the archives to retrieve a document that needs to be copied. But even in this simple task, there is a sense of purpose and tranquility. Seisha rises from his desk, leaving his small, quiet workspace behind. The soft rustle of his linen tunic fills the room as he steps carefully across the stone floor, his movements slow and deliberate. The light from the oil lamp flickers softly in the corner, casting long shadows as he exits the room. He walks down the narrow hallway, the faint sound of his sandals against the cool stone the only sound that accompanies him. The air is still, filled with the quiet hum of a world that seems to move in its own peaceful rhythm. As Seisha reaches the door to the archive, he pauses for a moment, his hand resting on the wooden frame. There is a slight creak as he opens the door, and the familiar scent of aged papyrus fills the air. The archive is a room of quiet reverence, a sanctuary for the kingdom's most treasured documents and scrolls. The walls are lined with shelves upon shelves of papyrus, each scroll carefully stored, each document a piece of history that has been preserved for generations. The room is dimly lit, with only a few oil lamps casting a soft golden light across the many rows of parchment. Seisha steps inside, his eyes scanning the room slowly. The space is cool, and there is a peaceful stillness that fills the air. The faint rustling of papyrus echoes softly as he moves between the shelves, his hands brushing lightly over the scrolls as he walks. Each document is neatly rolled, carefully tied with string, its contents sealed with the weight of time. He takes his time, moving with the same unhurried pace that he carries with him throughout the day. There is no sense of urgency, no rush. The room is filled with the quiet history of the kingdom, each document containing knowledge, stories, and records that will continue to live on. Seisha is a keeper of these stories, and today he seeks one particular scroll, an old record that needs to be copied for the archives. As he reaches the shelf where the document is stored, he pulls it gently from its place. The papyrus is worn, its edges slightly curled from age, but it is still intact. Seisha holds it carefully, feeling the weight of the history it carries. With a soft exhale, he walks back toward the table, where he will unroll the document and prepare it for the work ahead. The silence of the room wraps around him like a soft blanket, and Seisha feels a deep sense of connection to the past, to the many scribes who have come before him. Their hands too have touched these scrolls, preserving the knowledge and history of the kingdom for those who would follow. It is a quiet, sacred task, one that demands patience and reverence, and in this moment, as Seisha prepares to copy the ancient text, he becomes a part of that long, unbroken chain of scribes. He sets the scroll down gently, taking a moment to appreciate the simplicity of the task before him. There is no need to hurry. He will return to his small room, unroll the papyrus, and begin his work with the same slow, deliberate pace that has defined his day. For now, though, he lingers in the stillness of the archive, savouring the calm and quiet that surrounds him. As he leaves the room, the door closing softly behind him, Sesha returns to his work, the document in hand, ready to continue the rhythm of the day. The world outside is as quiet as ever, and with each step, he feels the peace of the moment wrap around him like the embrace of time itself. The sun has shifted in the sky, casting long, warm shadows across the quiet room. Sesha sits once again at his small table, surrounded by the stillness of the afternoon. The papyrus before him is unrolled, its edges perfectly smooth, awaiting the careful strokes of ink that will fill its surface. He has gathered his tools, the fine brush, the ink jar, and the delicate pen, each one in its place, ready for the work ahead. Sesha's hands move with slow precision as he prepares the tools. The brush is light in his fingers, and he dips it gently into the ink jar. The dark liquid coats the bristles, the ink flowing smoothly and evenly. He brings the brush to the papyrus, feeling the quiet weight of the task ahead. Each stroke, each symbol will require his full attention and patience. There is no rush in this moment. The world outside continues on, but inside this room, time stretches out slowly, like the gentle rhythm of a river flowing at its own peaceful pace. Sesha brings the brush down onto the papyrus, the bristles gliding softly over the surface. The ink spreads across the fibers, leaving behind a perfect line, steady and calm. With each new stroke, Sesha feels the rhythm of the work take hold of him. His hand moves slowly, with deliberate care, guiding the brush as it forms the ancient symbols. The brush is an extension of his mind, and he moves with the confidence of someone who knows this work well. The ink flows, and the symbols take shape, one at a time, each line forming with a quiet grace. Sesha pauses every now and then, his eyes scanning the page, ensuring that each symbol is perfect, each stroke exactly where it should be. He is not in a hurry. There is no need to rush the work. The task will unfold at its own pace, in its own time. The ink is patient, the brush is patient, and so is Sesha. He dips the brush again, watching the ink flow smoothly into the bristles. The slight sound of the brush as it touches the papyrus is calming, almost like a whisper, soft and steady. Sesha's movements are measured, his focus unwavering as he carefully writes the next line, the next symbol. The rhythm of his work is like a quiet song, the brush moving back and forth in a smooth, even pattern. The ink begins to darken as he continues, the words on the papyrus coming to life in a steady, deliberate flow. With each stroke, Sesha feels a sense of calm wash over him. The act of writing is not just about forming symbols, it is about creating a connection between the past and the present, between his hands and the history he is preserving. He is a part of something much larger, and this simple act of writing carries with it the weight of time, the weight of knowledge. The room is still, save for the soft rustle of the papyrus as it shifts under Sesha's hands. The faint flicker of the oil lamp casts its steady light, adding warmth to the quiet. Each stroke of the brush, each line of ink, fills the space with a sense of purpose and peace. As the page fills with symbols, Sesha's thoughts drift, but his hands remain steady, guided by the peaceful rhythm of the task. There is nothing else to do, nowhere else to be, just the gentle motion of the brush, the flow of ink, and the steady unfolding of the work. Time moves slowly, and Sesha is content to let it pass in its own soft, unhurried way. When the final strokes are made, Sesha leans back in his chair and gazes at the page before him. The work is done, the symbols are perfect, the ink dark and smooth. There is a quiet satisfaction in the simplicity of the task, an understanding that in this moment he has done his job with care, with patience, and with respect for the tradition he is a part of. With a soft exhale, Sesha sets the brush down, and the room falls into silence once more. The papyrus rests before him, filled with the careful strokes of his work. It is a simple task, but one that carries with it the weight of meaning, the weight of history. The world outside continues, But inside this small room, time has moved slowly and peacefully, just as it always does. The room is still, its soft quietness only broken by the gentle flicker of the oil lamp. The day has unfolded in its slow, peaceful rhythm, and now Sesha turns his attention to a task of great importance, writing down a new law, a decree from the kingdom that must be recorded carefully, precisely, and with the utmost attention. It is a weighty responsibility, one that carries the honour of the royal court and the trust of the people. Sesha sits at his small wooden table, the papyrus unrolled before him, its smooth surface waiting for the careful strokes of his brush. He dips the brush into the ink, watching as the dark liquid coats the fine bristles. His hand moves slowly, steady and sure. The ink flows with ease, the symbols coming to life on the page as he writes. But this is not just any ordinary document. This is a law, a rule that will affect the kingdom. And as he writes, Sesha feels the importance of the task settling over him. Every word, every stroke of ink must be perfect, for these laws will guide the lives of the people, shaping their world and their future. His thoughts are clear, his focus complete. There is no room for haste. The words must be precise, their meaning clear, for these laws are to stand for years, perhaps generations to come. Sesha's hand moves with deliberate care as he writes each symbol. The process is slow and meditative, the brush moving in a gentle rhythm across the papyrus. He is not just transcribing words. He is shaping the framework of the kingdom's order, the quiet foundation upon which the kingdom rests. The weight of this thought is both grounding and comforting. He feels a quiet pride in the task, a deep understanding of the responsibility it carries. Each law, each decree, has its own rhythm, its own flow. Sesha does not rush to finish the task. He allows the words to come slowly, carefully, each stroke measured with the same quiet thoughtfulness as the last. He pauses every now and then, allowing his eyes to rest on the page, ensuring that every symbol is perfect, every word clearly written. The brush flows smoothly, the ink dark and rich, as the law takes form in front of him. The room remains calm, peaceful, as the ink flows steadily across the papyrus. Sesha's movements are slow, purposeful. There is a gentle hum to his thoughts, a quiet awareness of the importance of the work he is doing. In this space, time seems to move in perfect harmony with his work, deliberate, thoughtful, and unhurried. As he writes the final lines, Sesha reflects on the significance of the law. It is more than just symbols on papyrus. It is a guide for the people, a framework to bring order and fairness to the kingdom. The task may seem simple in its execution, but the responsibility it holds is immense. The weight of the law is felt in every word he writes, and Sesha knows that he is playing a part in something much larger than himself. When the final stroke is made, the room falls into a deep silence. The law is complete. Sesha sits back in his chair, allowing his eyes to take in the document before him. The symbols are neat, clear, and precise. The words are perfect in their simplicity, yet they carry the full weight of the kingdom's rule. There is a quiet satisfaction in the completion of the task, knowing that this document, this law, will now take its place in the kingdom's history. Sesha gently rolls the papyrus and ties it with a simple string. The work is done, and the day continues in its peaceful flow. There is no need to rush, no need to hurry. The law will stand, the kingdom will continue, and Sesha can return to the quiet of his room, knowing that his small part in this vast world has been completed with care and precision. The midday sun pours through the window, casting soft beams of light across the room, and the peaceful hum of the day continues to drift in from the outside. Sesha, having completed his morning work with steady care, now finds a moment to rest. The air is warm and still, and there is no rush in this space. The clock of the day has slowed to a gentle pace, and it is time for a quiet, simple lunch. Sesha moves with calm ease as he rises from his desk. His feet make no more sound than a soft whisper on the stone floor as he walks over to a small, simple wooden table. There, a modest meal awaits. There is no extravagance here, just the simple sustenance of bread, a few slices of meat, and a bowl of fresh vegetables. It is a meal meant to nourish, to refuel the body for the rest of the day, but nothing more. He takes a small piece of bread in his hand, feeling its warmth and softness. The bread, though plain, is satisfying, each bite filling him with a quiet comfort. There's a subtle satisfaction in the simplicity of it. No spices, no complex flavors, just the wholesome taste of grains and warmth. He takes his time with each bite, savoring the gentle rhythm of the moment. Beside the bread sits a small portion of meat, tender and simple, a nourishing contrast to the bread. It is neither lavish nor meager, just enough to give Seisha strength for the afternoon ahead. As he chews slowly, his mind begins to drift, not to thoughts of the work left to do, but to the quiet peace of the moment. The room is still, save for the soft sounds of his movements, the light click of the bread as it meets his plate, and the faint hum of the outside world, distant and muted. The vegetables, fresh and simple, sit in a small bowl next to him. They are cool and crisp, their delicate flavors a refreshing contrast to the warmth of the bread and meat. Seisha takes a few bites, the freshness of the vegetables grounding him in the moment, a reminder of the simplicity that life offers in the smallest of details. There is no hurry, no need to rush through this meal, no worry about time. The room is filled with quiet stillness, and Seisha takes full advantage of it, allowing himself to savor the quiet nourishment that comes with each bite. The rhythmic act of eating is soothing, and as the meal continues, the world outside fades even further into the background. In this room, at this moment, there is only the peace of the meal and the slow unfolding of the afternoon. Seisha finishes his meal slowly, content and full, his thoughts calm. He sets down his utensils and leans back for a moment, closing his eyes. The stillness in the room is complete, and a sense of deep satisfaction fills him. This simple meal, this quiet moment, is enough for now. The rest of the day will come in its own time, but for now, there is only peace. The quiet hum of the outside world continues, but within these walls, time slows even further, and Seisha allows himself a few moments of rest before returning to his work. The simplicity of the meal, the calm that fills the space, and the gentle rhythm of the day all work together to create a perfect pause, a moment of rest in the gentle flow of the hours. The midday sun casts its warm glow on the world outside, but within the stillness of his room, Seisha feels the soft pull of rest. His work has been steady, the tasks of the morning accomplished with patient care, but now the time has come for a quiet pause, a brief moment to refresh his mind and body. He rises from his desk with slow, deliberate movements, stretching his arms above his head, allowing the stillness of the room to envelop him. His muscles, relaxed after hours of focused work, feel the gentle release of tension. With a deep, calming breath, he turns toward the door. The air inside the room is still, and the quiet outside calls to him, an invitation to step into the soft embrace of the world beyond the walls. Seisha steps outside, and the warm, gentle breeze greets him immediately. The outside world, though peaceful, feels different from the stillness of his room. The scent of the earth, the faint rustling of the leaves, and the soft hum of distant birds all combine into a soundless harmony. The sunlight falls softly through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the stone pathway before him. Each step Seisha takes feels grounded, the cool earth beneath his feet grounding him further into the moment. He walks slowly, his pace unhurried, savoring the quiet beauty of the surroundings. The air is fresh, carrying with it the faint scent of plants and flowers, their colors vibrant in the afternoon light. As he moves, Seisha's mind begins to settle, and a sense of calm takes over. The simplicity of nature, the sounds of the breeze and the birds, help him clear the clutter of thoughts, leaving only the tranquility of the present moment. For a while, Seisha simply walks, breathing in the fresh air with each step. The warm sun on his skin is comforting, and he allows himself to bask in its quiet presence. There is no destination, no urgency to reach a certain place. This moment of rest, this brief walk, is enough in itself. There is nothing to do but be present, to let the outside world soothe and refresh him. As Seisha walks along a familiar path, the gentle rustling of the trees above adds a soft rhythm to the silence. The leaves sway, their motion slow and steady, as if keeping time with his footsteps. The world seems to move at its own quiet pace, and in this moment, Seisha feels a sense of peace wash over him, a reminder that there is no rush in life, no need to hurry. He pauses for a moment, standing in the shade of a tree, his eyes closed, allowing the calm of the moment to fill him. The breeze cools his face, and the sounds of nature envelop him. His breath is steady, deep, and slow, in perfect harmony with the rhythm of the world around him. Time seems to slow even more as he stands there, letting the stillness seep into his mind. The worries of the world, the tasks of the day, fade into the background, leaving only the peace of this simple moment. The air, the warmth of the sun, the rustling of the leaves, all work together to refresh and renew him, body and mind. After some time, Seisha begins to make his way back to his room, the calmness still lingering in the air. He feels lighter, his thoughts clear, and his body relaxed. The quiet walk outside has offered him the gentle break he needed. The world continues, but for now, he is refreshed, ready to return to his work with a peaceful mind. As he steps back into his room, he takes another deep breath, feeling the stillness settle back around him. The task at hand awaits, but it can wait a little longer. For now, there is only the quiet peace of a mind at rest, refreshed and ready for the next gentle rhythm of the day. The afternoon light filters softly through the window, casting warm golden hues across the room. The quiet hum of the world outside fades into the background as Seisha settles into his chair once more. His work has paused for the day, and the gentle rhythm of the hours continues on, unhurried. There is no rush, no pressing task at hand, and in this moment, Seisha feels the subtle pull of introspection, a quiet invitation to reflect on the day that has passed. With a calm sigh, he reaches for a small, smooth piece of papyrus that rests beside his desk. His thoughts drift, but he welcomes them. They are not the hurried thoughts of a busy scribe, but the soft musings of a man who seeks to understand the moments of his life, the rhythms of his existence. There is no expectation in this act, no urgency. It is simply time to reflect, to give a voice to the quiet thoughts that have settled in his mind. Seisha picks up his brush, dipping it slowly into the ink. The soft brush strokes against the papyrus begin the quiet task of recording his thoughts. The first line comes easily, a gentle flow of ink, a simple statement about the morning's work. The words come without thought, like the soft current of a river that flows naturally, without force. He pauses for a moment, taking in the peaceful surroundings. The room is still, filled with the faint scent of papyrus and ink. Outside, the distant hum of the world continues, perhaps the rustle of leaves in the wind or the quiet chatter of neighbours. But here, in this moment, all that matters is the page before him and the calmness that fills the space. As Seisha writes, his thoughts become clearer, unravelling slowly in the quiet stillness of the room. He writes not for anyone else to read, but for himself. These are his reflections, his observations of life as it moves quietly forward. His brush moves slowly, carefully, as he writes down small moments, fleeting thoughts, and the simple patterns of his day. The quiet of the room becomes more pronounced as he continues to write. Each stroke of the brush is a reflection of his own steady pace, the rhythm of the world around him, and the inner calm that he has cultivated. He writes about the quiet moments of the morning, the peaceful walk to the archive, the steady rhythm of his work, and the simple joy of taking time for himself. Each thought is a small reflection, a brief glimpse into the daily life he leads. There is no rush to complete this task. Seisha does not write to finish quickly or to complete a list. Instead, he allows his mind to wander gently, to capture the peaceful thoughts that have drifted through his day. Perhaps a thought about the changing seasons, or a quiet observation about the way the light shifts throughout the room. He writes of the things that fill the spaces of his mind, small, meaningful details that may otherwise go unnoticed. As the page fills, Seisha feels a sense of calm settle deeper within him. The act of writing, the quiet introspection, offers him a moment of clarity. The day may continue, but for now he has captured a small part of it, a quiet reflection that will remain on the page. When the final words are written, Sasha sets the brush down and leans back in his chair. He takes a deep breath, feeling the peacefulness of the moment. There is no need for more. The simple act of writing has allowed him to pause, to reflect, and to appreciate the calm of his life. The room is still, the oil lamp flickers softly, and the papyrus rests before him, filled with his quiet reflections. It is a simple task, but one that holds great meaning, as it allows him to connect with the rhythm of his own thoughts and to find peace in the stillness of the moment. The peaceful stillness of the afternoon settles in as Sasha steps back into his small room. The soft warmth of the sun still lingers, casting long shadows across the stone floor. But now, the quiet hum of the day returns to its gentle rhythm. His lunch has been simple, a moment of rest and refreshment, but now it is time to return to his work. With no rush, Sasha walks slowly back to his table, his mind calm and his body rested from the brief break. He can feel the serenity of the space wrapping around him once again. The room, bathed in the golden light of the afternoon, feels like a quiet sanctuary, a place where the world outside falls away and time slows even more. He sits down at the wooden table, feeling the cool surface beneath his fingertips as he adjusts the papyrus before him. His tools, brush, ink and pen, are all in their places, ready for him to continue. The task he resumes is simple yet important, documenting the kingdom's activities. There are transactions to record, exchanges to note, and the daily affairs of the royal court to preserve. It is not work of grandeur, but it is vital work, steady and quiet, like the life of the kingdom itself. Sasha dips his brush into the ink, watching as the dark liquid glistens on the fine bristles. The brush touches the papyrus with a soft, deliberate motion, and the first stroke of the afternoon's work begins. The steady rhythm of his writing fills the room with a quiet sense of purpose. He writes slowly, as always, with attention to detail, ensuring that each symbol, each word, is formed perfectly. The task at hand requires precision, but it also requires patience. Sasha is not concerned with completing it quickly. He allows the work to unfold at its own pace, each line of ink a small but important part of the larger tapestry of the kingdom's history. His focus is unwavering, but there is no sense of urgency. Just the gentle flow of ink on papyrus, the soft sound of the brush as it moves across the surface. As he records the day's transactions, Sasha reflects on the simple rhythms of his life. The writing, the documenting, the steady flow of time, they all come together in this quiet space, creating a peaceful routine that he has come to appreciate. There is satisfaction in this work, not because it is grand or thrilling, but because it is steady and reliable, much like the pulse of the kingdom itself. The light outside shifts slightly, and the shadows grow longer in the room. The air is still, and Sasha remains absorbed in his task. His hand moves with the familiar rhythm, dipping the brush into the ink and bringing it to the papyrus in smooth, measured strokes. Each transaction recorded, each note taken, is a quiet part of the kingdom's ongoing story. His role, though modest, is crucial in preserving the flow of the kingdom's history, ensuring that no small detail is lost to time. For a time, Sasha loses himself in the steady rhythm of the work. The world outside seems distant, and there is only the quiet space around him, the ink, the brush, and the words that take shape on the papyrus. The work continues, each line contributing to the calm unfolding of the day. As the afternoon wanes and the work progresses, Sasha pauses only for brief moments, taking a deep, slow breath, his eyes gliding over the page. There is no rush. Each task will be done when it is meant to be done, and there is peace in that understanding. The work at hand is a simple, steady continuation of the day's rhythm, and Sasha is content to let it flow naturally as the quiet day stretches out before him. The room has settled into the soft golden glow of the late afternoon. The sun, now lower in the sky, casts long, peaceful shadows across the stone floor. Sesha, having returned to his desk after a brief respite, resumes his work with the same quiet focus that has guided him through the day. The work ahead is important yet simple, a steady continuation of his role as a scribe. Today he has been tasked with copying ancient texts, stories from distant lands recorded long ago. Sesha reaches for the scroll before him, its papyrus edges gently curled from age. The words on the scroll are worn, yet the symbols are still clear, preserved through time. The stories within are as much a part of the kingdom's heritage as the laws and records he writes. But these are different. These are the tales of faraway lands, recounting the history of other peoples, their customs, their beliefs. Sesha's role today is to preserve these stories, to make copies of the ancient writings so they may endure for future generations. He dips his brush slowly into the ink, the dark liquid glistening on the fine bristles. The first stroke of the brush touches the papyrus, and with a quiet, steady hand, Sesha begins to copy the first of the ancient symbols. The characters are familiar, yet there is something unique about the way each culture has shaped their script. The brush moves smoothly, each stroke deliberate, careful. There is no hurry, no rush in this work. Sesha knows that each symbol must be transferred exactly, with the same care that was given to the original text. As he works, Sesha reflects on the stories he is preserving. These texts, these accounts of faraway civilizations, offer glimpses into worlds that are distant both in space and time. Yet in the quiet act of copying these texts, Sesha feels a connection to them. He is helping to preserve a piece of the world's history, ensuring that the wisdom and tales of these ancient peoples will continue to live on. The sound of the brush on the papyrus is soft and rhythmic, like the gentle whisper of the wind. Sesha moves with calm assurance, each line following the last, the symbols flowing easily from the brush. There is a peacefulness in this work, a sense of tranquility that comes from the repetition of the task. The room around him is still and the world outside is quiet, as if holding its breath to let Sesha continue his careful labour. As the evening deepens, Sesha's hand continues its steady rhythm. His thoughts are calm, focused entirely on the work in front of him. There is no need to think of the future or the tasks yet to come. All that matters is the present moment, the ink on the papyrus, the steady strokes of the brush, and the gentle unfolding of the ancient text before him. The stories he copies may speak of distant kings, faraway lands, or forgotten gods, but as Sesha transcribes the symbols, he feels a sense of connection to these far-off places. Through his work, the histories of these lands become intertwined with his own. The act of copying is more than just preserving the written word. It is a way of honouring these cultures, giving them a place in the kingdom's ongoing story. With each new page, Sesha continues to lose himself in the steady rhythm of the task. The room is now bathed in the soft, cool light of the evening, and the brush moves slowly, carefully, across the surface of the papyrus. Time seems to stretch out, the moments passing gently, like the quiet flow of a river. The world beyond the room may be busy, but here in the stillness, Sesha is content. His work, though simple, carries with it the weight of history and the calm understanding that he is contributing to something much larger than himself. When the final stroke is made, Sesha sets the brush down, taking a slow, deep breath. The room is filled with a sense of quiet satisfaction. The text is complete, the ancient story preserved once more for the future. Sesha takes a moment to glance over his work, the symbols neat and orderly, the ink dark and rich against the pale papyrus. He knows that the stories of these distant lands, preserved through his careful work, will continue to be shared with others, and that thought fills him with a quiet sense of peace. As the evening draws to a close, Sesha rolls the scroll with the newly copied text, preparing it for safekeeping. The room is still, the day's work nearly complete. There is no rush, no hurry. The world will continue to move, but for now Sesha is content in the slow, gentle rhythm of his day. As the afternoon fades into evening, the golden light of the sun softens, casting a serene glow over the room. The quiet hum of the day settles into a peaceful rhythm, and Sesha returns to his small desk. The tasks of the day have unfolded steadily, one after another, each with its own quiet significance. Now, the time has come for a new task, writing the trade regulations for the market. These simple yet important rules will help guide the flow of goods and commerce in the kingdom, ensuring that the market remains organized and fair. Sesha sits down, his hands steady as he adjusts the papyrus in front of him. The soft rustling of the scroll fills the room for just a moment before the stillness settles back in. He takes a slow, deliberate breath, preparing for the work ahead. His tools are ready, the fine brush, the ink, and the pen. These tools will help him transcribe the regulations clearly and precisely, as they have for countless documents before. The task may be simple, but it is necessary, and Sesha takes pride in his role. He dips the brush into the ink, feeling the cool, smooth liquid coat the fine bristles. As the first stroke touches the papyrus, Sesha feels a quiet sense of purpose settle in. The words he writes will lay the foundation for the kingdom's marketplace, ensuring fairness in the exchange of goods and the smooth flow of commerce. The work is vital for the orderly conduct of daily life, and Sesha understands that each stroke of the brush contributes to this larger structure. The brush moves slowly and steadily across the papyrus, forming the first symbols. The words are carefully chosen, each one reflecting the simplicity and clarity needed for these rules. As Sesha writes, he reflects on the importance of the task. Trade is the lifeblood of the kingdom, and these regulations will help maintain order, ensuring that buyers and sellers alike can trust the process. The rhythmic motion of the brush creates a soothing pattern. Sesha dips the brush again and continues writing, the ink flowing smoothly, the symbols forming with precision. There is no rush. Time seems to stretch, each stroke unfolding at its own pace. The soft click of the brush against the papyrus is almost meditative, a sound that marks the steady progress of the work. As he writes the regulations, Sesha feels the quiet satisfaction of creating something that will help bring structure to the kingdom. The market, a place of bustling trade and exchange, will operate more smoothly with clear guidelines. There is a simplicity in the process, recording the rules, outlining the duties of the merchants, the expectations for fair pricing, and the steps to resolve disputes. These are the building blocks that allow the kingdom's economy to run smoothly, but they are also a reflection of the care and attention to detail that Sesha brings to his work. The room around him remains quiet, the flickering light of the oil lamp casting soft shadows across the walls. Outside, the faint sounds of the world continue, distant chatter, the rustle of the wind, the soft rhythm of life. But here, in this small room, there is only the steady rhythm of Sesha's work. His focus is complete, and his mind is at peace as he continues writing. Each line of the regulations is a small, meaningful detail, a rule for weights and measures, a guideline for trade hours, a simple note on the duties of the market vendors. The economy may be complex, but Sesha knows that these simple rules help to keep it structured, organized, and fair. With each stroke of the brush, he adds a small piece to the larger picture of the kingdom's well-being. As the last word is written, Sesha takes a deep, slow breath. The regulations are complete. He gazes at the papyrus before him, the ink dark and clear, the words precise and well-formed. The room is filled with a quiet sense of accomplishment. This small, steady task has been completed with care, contributing to the larger flow of life in the kingdom. Sesha leans back in his chair for a moment, allowing himself to rest in the peaceful satisfaction of the work. The sun outside is now lower in the sky, casting a cool, soft light into the room. Time has moved slowly, as it always does in this space, and the work continues. Sesha rolls the papyrus carefully and sets it aside, knowing that the day will soon come to its end. But for now, he feels content, knowing that the market will continue with order and structure, just as it should. The evening light has softened into a gentle dusk, and the room is filled with a quiet serenity. The soft flicker of the oil lamp casts a warm, golden glow across the papyrus that lies before Sesha. The symbols he's been writing are neat, well-formed, but now, as his brush touches the page once more, a small difficulty arises. Sesha pauses for a moment, his brush hovering in midair. A small inconsistency in one of the symbols catches his eye. A subtle mistake. Perhaps the line is too long or the curve too sharp. It is a minor imperfection, barely noticeable, but to Sesha it feels significant. He breathes in slowly, letting the calmness of the moment wash over him. This is not a moment for haste. There is no rush, no need to worry. With a quiet sigh, Sesha sets his brush down and looks at the symbol. His eyes trace its form, considering the problem with the same gentle care that he brings to all his work. The room is still, and the only sound is the soft crackle of the fire, the steady rhythm of his breathing. Time moves slowly here, as it always does. There is no need to rush through the process. He reaches for his ink jar and dips the brush once more. This time his hand moves with deliberation, a calm focus settling over him. Sesha knows that the solution is not in haste, but in patience. He does not let frustration creep into his thoughts. The mistake, though small, is simply part of the work, a small challenge to be faced with the same steady rhythm he has learned to embrace in all his tasks. The brush touches the papyrus again, and with a delicate, careful stroke, Sesha adjusts the symbol, smoothing out the inconsistency. It is a simple correction, a small shift in the form, but it brings a sense of quiet satisfaction. The imperfection is gone, and the symbol is now as it should be. Sesha steps back for a moment, letting his eyes scan the page. He moves over each line with calm deliberation, ensuring that everything is in order. There are no other mistakes, no further inconsistencies, and yet he remains focused, allowing himself to truly see each symbol, to appreciate the work for its quiet beauty. The process of correcting the mistake has been soothing, a gentle reminder that even in small difficulties, there is no need for haste or frustration. Instead, there is patience, there is care, and there is the quiet knowledge that mistakes are simply part of the journey, and that each moment of correction brings one closer to the work's completion. Sesha picks up his brush again, the ink flowing smoothly across the page as the symbols continue to take shape. The task is steady and unhurried, just as it has been throughout the day. There is a peaceful rhythm to his work, each stroke flowing seamlessly into the next. Even the smallest imperfections, when addressed with care, fade away into the calm of the process. As the evening deepens, Sesha completes the final strokes of the text, feeling the quiet satisfaction of a task well done. The mistakes have been corrected, and the work is complete. The papyrus lies before him, filled with neat, perfect symbols. He sets the brush down with a soft exhale, his body relaxing into the chair. The room is still, filled with the quiet warmth of the lamp's glow. The day has passed slowly, with its gentle rhythm of work and rest, and now the task is done. Sesha takes a moment to reflect on the small difficulty he faced, knowing that it was met not with haste or frustration, but with patience and care. The work is now complete, and he is content in the peace of the evening. As the evening light begins to soften, the room is filled with a gentle calm. The quiet hum of the outside world seems distant, and inside Sesha sits at his table, once again immersed in his work. The day's tasks have been completed with steady care, and now there is a simple yet important task to attend to, a task of routine and order. Sesha takes a deep, slow breath and unfurls the fresh papyrus before him. The task today is to write an inventory list, a catalogue of the kingdom's supplies, whether food stores, trade goods, or materials necessary for the kingdom's ongoing needs. It is a task that is not complex but requires precision and organization. It may be monotonous, but it brings a sense of calm and steadiness to the day. With a quiet movement, Sesha dips his brush into the ink. The dark liquid flows smoothly over the fine bristles, and with a soft exhale, he brings the brush to the papyrus. The first stroke is steady, a neat line that begins the list. Grains of wheat, 10 bags, he writes, the ink, forming clear symbols, each one simple but essential. As he continues, Sesha reflects on the repetitive nature of the task, how each line follows the one before it in a predictable, calming rhythm. The items are listed one by one, each line a small but important piece of the kingdom's daily life. Dried fish, 30 bundles. Olive oil, 5 jars. The list grows steadily, each stroke of the brush a small act of organisation, a moment of quiet contribution to the kingdom's ongoing needs. There is no rush. Time moves slowly in this room, and Sesha feels no desire to hurry. The task is simple but necessary, and he approaches it with the same calm deliberation that he brings to all of his work. The papyrus fills with a steady list of items, each name carefully written, the symbols flowing from his brush with quiet consistency. The monotony of the work is soothing, the repetitive nature of the task providing a peaceful rhythm. Cured meats, 12 slabs. Dates, 10 baskets. Each entry is precise and orderly, the work unfolding naturally, like the slow, gentle unfolding of the day itself. The room remains still, the air cool and undisturbed, as Sesha continues to write. His mind wanders gently as he works, but it is not in the sense of distraction. Instead, it is a quiet reflection on the simplicity of life. The grains, the oils, the meats, these are the building blocks of life in the kingdom, the daily essentials that sustain the people. And as Sesha writes, he feels a quiet satisfaction in the knowledge that his work helps to maintain the order of the kingdom. It is the small tasks, the seemingly monotonous acts, that create the structure for everything else to flow smoothly. The brush moves steadily, the ink flowing smoothly, the symbols forming cleanly on the page. The sound of the brush against the papyrus is a gentle, rhythmic whisper, a soft melody that fills the quiet room. There is no urgency, no need for anything to be done quickly. Sesha simply writes, each line of the inventory list, marking the passage of time in this quiet space. As the final items are recorded, wooden planks, 20 bundles, clay pots, 50. Sesha leans back in his chair, his eyes scanning the completed list. The inventory is complete, the papyrus filled with the neat, orderly symbols that record the kingdom's supplies. The work has been steady, deliberate, and calm. Sesha sets the brush down with a soft sigh, a deep sense of satisfaction filling him. The room is still, the day drawing toward its close. Time has moved slowly, just as it should. And now, with the inventory complete, the work for the day is done. Sesha carefully rolls the papyrus and sets it aside, knowing that tomorrow will bring its own quiet rhythm, its own steady tasks. But for now, the evening is calm, and the world outside continues to hum softly, just as it always does. The soft glow of the evening sun begins to wane, casting a calm, amber hue over the room. Sesha sits at his desk, surrounded by the familiar quiet of his small space. The day has passed slowly, as it always does, and his work has been steady. Yet, it is in these final moments of the day that a quiet reflection settles over him. He pauses, looking over the various scrolls and papyrus before him, documents of all kinds, each one a small part of the kingdom's ongoing life. The symbols he has carefully written, the records of transactions, the laws, the lists, each one contributes to the larger web of the kingdom's daily functions. It is a simple task, but Sesha feels the weight of its importance. There is a quiet satisfaction in his work, a gentle understanding that he is part of something much larger than himself. His hand moves slowly across the papyrus, but it is not just the act of writing that is meaningful. It is the rhythm of the work, the order that he helps create within the kingdom. Sesha is not just a scribe transcribing words onto paper. He is a keeper of structure, a silent force behind the smooth functioning of the administration. His careful attention to detail ensures that the kingdom's heart beats steadily, day after day, in quiet harmony. As Sesha reflects on this, a calm understanding settles in. His role may seem small, perhaps even repetitive at times, but it is essential. The kingdom's economy, its laws, its daily transactions, all depend on this quiet labour. The careful recording, the accurate documentation, the steady hand that guides the flow of information. It is not glamorous work, but it is meaningful. It is the quiet backbone that supports the kingdom's life. He leans back in his chair for a moment, allowing his thoughts to settle. The world outside continues, but here, in this small room, time feels as if it has slowed. There is no rush, no demand for anything to be done quickly. Instead, there is a deep peace in the knowledge that his work, done with patience and care, contributes to something much larger. The steady rhythm of daily life is upheld by these small tasks, and Seisha feels content in his understanding of that. His mind drifts gently to the larger picture, the knowledge that every document he writes, every list he compiles, is part of a greater whole. Whether he is recording trade transactions, writing laws, or copying ancient texts, all of it contributes to the smooth operation of the kingdom. Without this order, without this quiet structure, the larger workings of the kingdom would fall into disarray. His role, though humble, is a crucial one, and in this realization, Seisha feels a deep sense of peace. His work is not just a job, it is a vital thread in the fabric of the kingdom. As the day continues to wind down, Seisha picks up his brush once more. He moves slowly, deliberately, as he finishes the last task of the day. There is no rush, no need to hurry. The work will be done when it is done. The sense of purpose he feels is calming, and with each stroke of the brush, his understanding of the importance of his role deepens. The kingdom moves forward, guided by the steady hand of its scribes, and in this quiet space, Seisha is content in the knowledge that he plays his part. The oil lamp flickers softly in the corner of the room, and Seisha finishes his task, taking a moment to reflect on the day. There is no grand conclusion, no final flourish of work to be done. The day has unfolded just as it should, and tomorrow will bring more of the same. Quiet tasks, steady routines, and a deep sense of peace in knowing that these simple acts contribute to something larger. The room is still, the world outside moves slowly, and for now, Seisha is at peace with the understanding that his work, though humble, is essential to the smooth and steady life of the kingdom. As the day begins to fade, the soft, dimming light of the evening enters through the window, casting a gentle glow on the room. The sounds of the outside world have quieted, and the air has taken on a cool stillness. Inside, Seisha sits at his desk once more, preparing to finish the day's work. The steady rhythm of his actions continues, now guided by the task of summarizing the day's efforts. With a slow breath, he gathers the scattered pieces of papyrus, documents, notes, and records from the day's work. The room, though still and peaceful, feels somehow more intimate now, with the quiet of the evening surrounding him. His movements are deliberate, and his mind is calm as he reviews the day's tasks, preparing to record the final summary for his superiors. The first piece of papyrus is smooth and pristine as he unrolls it, setting it neatly before him. Seisha takes a deep breath, allowing the silence to settle around him. There is no rush, no hurry to finish. This is the moment of reflection, a quiet pause where he can carefully gather his thoughts and write down what has been accomplished. His brush dips into the ink, and with gentle strokes he begins. As the ink flows onto the papyrus, he writes clearly and precisely, recording each task completed throughout the day. Reviewed ancient texts for preservation, he writes, then follows with another line, written new laws for trade regulations. His handwriting is steady and neat, a calm reflection of the quiet rhythm of the day. Each task, each detail, is carefully noted. The work may seem simple, but it carries the weight of the kingdom's functioning. Seisha's task now is to capture that work, to summarize it, and to ensure that it is recorded for future reference. The steady scratch of the brush fills the room with a gentle rhythmic sound, a soft and soothing melody as Seisha writes. The day's activities are now neatly compiled into concise lines. Nothing left out, nothing forgotten. He writes with the same care and attention to detail that he has applied to every other task. There is no sense of urgency, only a quiet commitment to accuracy and precision. As he writes the final lines of the report, Seisha reflects on the peaceful flow of the day. Each task was a small but important part of the kingdom's ongoing work. The quiet routine of his work is a constant thread that runs through the fabric of daily life, and now, as the day comes to its close, He takes a moment to appreciate the simplicity of it all. When the report is complete, Sesha pauses for a moment, gazing at the paper in front of him. The ink is dry, the words clear and neat. A sense of quiet satisfaction fills the room. The day's work is done, neatly recorded, and ready for his superiors. With a gentle movement, Sesha rolls the papyrus and ties it carefully with a string, placing it aside for delivery. The room is now quiet, save for the soft flicker of the oil lamp, which casts its warm light across the table. The tasks of the day have been completed, and there is peace in knowing that the work, though simple, has contributed to the kingdom's steady flow. Sesha takes one last moment to breathe deeply, allowing the calmness of the evening to settle into his mind. He is content, knowing that his role, no matter how small, is part of a larger purpose, a purpose that continues quietly and steadily as the kingdom moves through the days. The evening falls into deeper stillness, and Sesha, feeling at ease, leaves his desk. The day's work has come to an end, and now it is time for rest. The rhythm of the day has slowed, and in the calm of the evening, Sesha feels the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. As the evening deepens, a quiet stillness settles over the room. The last traces of sunlight have faded, leaving only the soft, steady glow of the oil lamp that flickers gently in the corner. The air is cool now, and the peaceful hum of the day has subsided. Sesha, having completed the day's work, feels the familiar calm that comes at the close of each productive day. Before he takes his leave for the night, there is one more small task to complete: organizing and cleaning his writing tools. This too is part of the peaceful rhythm of his day, a moment to reflect on the work completed and prepare for tomorrow's tasks. It is a quiet, almost meditative routine that Sesha has come to cherish. He begins by carefully setting aside the rolled-up papyrus, the documents neatly stacked in a pile, each one in order. Sesha's eyes scan the desk for the tools of his trade: the ink jar, the fine brush, and the slender pen that he uses to create each perfect line. One by one he gathers them with a slow, deliberate motion, his hands moving in a practiced rhythm. First he turns to the ink jar. With gentle care he picks it up, checking the level of ink inside. It is still full, but there is something calming in the simple act of ensuring it is ready for the next day. He replaces the lid and sets it aside, knowing that it will be ready for tomorrow's tasks, just as it has been each day before. Next, Sesha picks up the brush. He runs his fingers gently along the bristles, feeling their softness, each one still slightly damp from the day's work. He dips the brush into the ink one last time, ensuring that any residual ink is cleaned off. The bristles respond with a soft, steady motion, and Sesha watches as the brush becomes clean once again. He lays the brush down carefully on the table, its shape perfectly intact. Then he turns his attention to the pen. The slender tool is simple, but Sesha holds it with reverence, knowing how essential it is to his work. He wipes it clean, ensuring the tip is free of any ink, the surface smooth and ready for use. Each tool, no matter how small or simple, is carefully cared for, as Sesha knows that the quiet attention to these details is what allows his work to continue smoothly. As the final step, he places the pen, brush and ink jar in their usual spots on the table, aligning them neatly. His workspace is clean, organized, and ready for tomorrow. There is a deep sense of satisfaction in the simplicity of this task. Nothing is out of place, and everything is prepared for the coming day. This small act of organizing feels like a quiet promise to himself, a promise that tomorrow will bring another peaceful day of steady work. Sesha takes a moment to stand back, looking at the clean table and the neatly arranged tools. The room is still, and the flickering light of the lamp seems to pause for a moment in the peaceful quiet of the evening. There is no rush to leave, no urgency to do anything more. Everything is in order, and Sesha feels at peace with the gentle rhythm of his life. With one last glance around the room, he stands and slowly walks towards the door. The work is done for the day, and tomorrow will come in its own time. As he closes the door softly behind him, the room remains undisturbed, the tools neatly prepared for another day. The night is calm, and the world outside moves on quietly, just as it always does. As the night settles in, the room becomes a peaceful haven, bathed in the soft light of the oil lamp. The day's tasks have been completed, and the steady rhythm of Sesha's work is now drawing to a close. But before he takes his leave for the night, there is one final task, a quiet routine that marks the end of each day, writing down the tasks for tomorrow. Sesha sits at his desk once more, his chair creaking gently as he shifts his weight. The room is calm, filled with the faint scent of ink and the warmth of the flickering lamp. He takes a slow, deliberate breath, gathering his thoughts. The tasks for the day have been completed, but tomorrow will bring new work, new responsibilities, and so, with a peaceful sense of order, Sesha begins to prepare for what lies ahead. He reaches for a fresh piece of papyrus, its smooth surface inviting him to write. The quiet rustle of the parchment fills the room for just a moment, before he dips his brush into the ink. The brush touches the page gently, the ink flowing smoothly onto the papyrus, forming the first of many careful strokes. Review the scrolls from the archive, Sesha writes, noting the task with calm precision. He moves slowly, each word written with clarity, the brush flowing steadily across the page. The evening is still, and the soft sound of the brush against the papyrus is like a whisper in the quiet room, a gentle reminder of the work to come. There is no hurry, no rush to finish the task. Each word is carefully chosen, each task carefully noted. He continues to write, making small notes about the tasks he must complete, prepare the new legal documents, review trade transactions, write the merchant agreements. Each task is written down with quiet care, the simple rhythm of the work carrying him forward. As he writes, Sesha reflects on the simple but meaningful nature of these duties. They may seem small in the grand scheme of things, but they are important. Each task contributes to the smooth flow of the kingdom's daily life, and Sesha feels a deep sense of peace in knowing that his work helps maintain that order. The brush moves slowly, each stroke a soft motion, like a slow, steady pulse. Sesha's thoughts drift, but they are not distracted. He remains focused, letting the evening calm his mind. Writing the notes for tomorrow is a simple task, but it brings with it a quiet satisfaction, the satisfaction of knowing that everything is in place for the coming day. As the last task is written down, Sesha leans back in his chair, allowing himself a moment of reflection. The room is still, the soft light of the lamp casting gentle shadows on the walls. The tasks for tomorrow are now noted, organized, and ready to be tackled when the morning comes. There is peace in knowing that everything is prepared, that the rhythm of the day will continue smoothly. Sesha takes a deep breath and sets the brush down, the ink now dry on the papyrus. The day is done, and tomorrow's tasks are now in order. He gently rolls the papyrus, tying it with a piece of string, setting it aside for the morning. The room remains calm, filled with the quiet satisfaction of a task completed and the anticipation of a new day. With the notes for tomorrow prepared, Sesha stands up, stretching slowly. He takes one last look around the room, appreciating the simplicity of the moment. The work is done, the notes are written, and the kingdom will continue, steady and calm, just as it always does. Sesha walks to the door, the soft sound of his footsteps echoing faintly in the stillness of the room. The world outside is peaceful, and he feels ready to rest, knowing that the tasks for tomorrow are already in order. As he closes the door behind him, the room is left in quiet darkness, the soft glow of the lamp now extinguished, awaiting the calm of another day. As the night draws near, a soft stillness fills the room. The once golden light of the oil lamp has dimmed, now casting only a faint glow that lingers in the corners. Sesha finishes his final task for the day, feeling the quiet satisfaction of a day's work well done. The room is calm, the air cool, and time seems to slow even further as he stands up from his desk, his movements deliberate and unhurried. He takes a moment to look around his workspace, his eyes gently tracing over the neatly organized papers and the carefully arranged writing tools. The brush is cleaned, the ink jar securely closed, and the papyrus rolled up and tied rests neatly in its place. Everything is in order, and there is peace in knowing that all is prepared for another day. Sisha's gaze lingers on the small oil lamp in the corner, its flame flickering softly. The light has served him well, casting its warmth over the work throughout the evening. Now, as the day transitions into night, it is time to extinguish the flame. Sesha walks over to the lamp, his footsteps light on the stone floor, and with a steady hand, he carefully snuffs out the flame. The soft hiss of the oil extinguishing fills the room for a brief moment, and with it the light fades, leaving behind only the cool shadows of the evening. The room is now enveloped in a peaceful darkness, the quiet surrounding him like a soft embrace. Sesha takes one last look around his workspace, the space he has spent so many hours in today, and feels a gentle sense of closure. The tasks are complete, the tools are put away, and the room is still, waiting for the next day to begin. He allows himself a deep, slow breath, letting the tranquility of the moment wash over him. Without a word, he steps away from the desk and slowly walks toward the door. The cool evening air feels refreshing as it brushes against his skin, a soft contrast to the warmth of the room. As he reaches the door, Sesha pauses for a moment, his hand on the doorknob, and takes another brief glance around the quiet room. There is no hurry, no need to rush through this moment. Everything is as it should be. With a final, gentle motion, he opens the door, stepping out of the room and into the peacefulness of the night. The door closes softly behind him, and for a moment, all is still. The workday is done, and the workspace, now quiet and undisturbed, waits for the return of the morning light. Sesha walks away from his desk, the soft sound of his footsteps the only sound that accompanies him. The night stretches ahead, calm and peaceful, as the world outside continues on in its quiet way. Sesha, with his mind at ease, feels the weight of the day slip away. In this tranquil moment, there is only rest ahead, a gentle pause before the rhythms of the new day begin once again. As the evening settles into its familiar calm, Sesha steps away from his small workspace, the quiet of the day gently following him. The tasks of the kingdom have been completed, the paperwork filed away, the routine of the day now behind him. Now, as the world outside grows quieter, the gentle hum of the evening invites him to turn his attention towards something equally important: his family. The house is warm, the faint sound of soft chatter filling the air as Sesha walks through the door to the small living room. The simple furnishings are arranged with care, each item placed in its proper place. His family, too, has settled in for the evening, the rhythm of their day now coming to its peaceful conclusion. The evening light filters softly through the window, casting a serene glow across the room. Sesha's wife looks up from the small table where she's been preparing a light meal. Her smile is warm, a silent welcome that fills the room with comfort. Their children, young and full of quiet energy, are gathered around the table, finishing their own small tasks. The scene is simple, yet it feels like everything in this moment is just as it should be. The family's presence brings a soft sense of belonging, grounding Sesha in the peace that comes with being home. He sits down beside his wife, their hands briefly touching as they exchange a quiet glance. The small talk flows easily between them. "The day went well," Sesha says, his voice calm and steady, "and the trade regulations are finally done." His wife nods, listening with quiet understanding. There's no rush in her responses, no urgency. She offers a gentle smile and then shifts her attention back to the meal she has prepared, the scent of freshly baked bread and roasted vegetables filling the air. Sesha's children, young yet thoughtful, quietly discuss their own day. One of them mentions a lesson learned in school. The other recounts a game played with friends. There is no grand excitement, no loud stories, just the simple, peaceful exchange of the day's small moments. Sesha listens intently, his thoughts quiet, his heart full. The simplicity of their lives, so different from the rhythms of his work, brings him a deep sense of peace. This too is part of the balance of life, the work and the rest, the quiet moments shared with family at the end of the day. The conversation flows gently, like a soft current that moves without rush. They speak of plans for the coming days, of small tasks that await, of hopes for the future. But there is no pressure to hurry through these thoughts. In this moment, there is no need for plans to be finalized or decisions to be made quickly. Everything moves at its own pace, slow and steady, just like the rest of their lives. After a while, Sesha helps his wife clear the table, each movement slow and thoughtful. The day's work may have been filled with routine and responsibility, but here, in these simple, quiet moments with his family, time seems to stretch in the most soothing way. The act of sharing a meal, of exchanging small thoughts, of being together, is enough to wash away the tension of the day. The evening continues in this peaceful rhythm, with Sesha sitting beside his family, enjoying the simple joy of their company. There is no rush to go anywhere, no sense of urgency to do anything else. The world outside is quiet, the stars beginning to twinkle in the night sky, and in the stillness of the room, Sesha feels the fullness of home, the comfort of family, and the calm of a life well lived. As the night deepens and the children begin to drift off to sleep, Sesha remains with his wife. They sit together for a while longer, speaking softly, sharing quiet thoughts. The day may be over, but these moments, these simple exchanges, hold just as much significance as the tasks he completed earlier. In the silence of the evening, surrounded by those he loves, Sesha feels content, a peaceful conclusion to a day of steady work and gentle companionship. As the evening settles in, a gentle calm fills the air, the last traces of sunlight fading softly into the horizon. The day, with all its work and routine, has come to a peaceful end, and now the time has come for a change of pace, a quiet moment spent in the company of friends. Sesha steps out of his house, the cool evening air brushing against his skin as he walks through the quiet streets. The world outside is calm, the sounds of distant conversation and soft footsteps marking the passing of time. There is no rush, no hurry, only the simple pleasure of moving through the peaceful evening towards the home of his old friends. When Sesha arrives, his friends greet him with warm smiles, their faces illuminated by the soft light of the lanterns hanging in the courtyard. The air is filled with the pleasant scent of freshly brewed tea and the soft murmur of light conversation. Sesha is welcomed with open arms, the familiar comfort of friendship settling around him like a blanket. They sit together in the cozy corner of the courtyard, a simple table between them, the gentle flicker of the lantern casting warm shadows on their faces. The conversation begins slowly, with no urgency or pressure. They speak of their work, of the quiet tasks that have filled the day, and of the small joys and challenges that accompany their lives. There is no need for grand topics or heavy subjects. This is a conversation of ease, a time to relax and share thoughts in the company of those who understand the rhythms of life. Sesha listens with a calm attentiveness, enjoying the gentle flow of the conversation. His friends speak of their own work, their families, and the small moments that have brought them joy. The words are simple but meaningful, woven together with the quiet laughter of shared understanding. It is the kind of conversation that doesn't need to be hurried, where pauses are filled with comfortable silence, and each word carries the weight of trust and familiarity. They speak of the day's small successes, the work that has been completed, and the plans for tomorrow, but there is no rush to move on to the next topic. The conversation meanders, gentle and unhurried, much like the evening itself. Sesha feels a deep sense of peace in these moments. No expectations, no obligations, only the simple joy of being in good company, of sharing time and thoughts with those who truly understand. As the evening continues, the conversations turn to lighter matters, a funny story from the day, a shared memory from the past, or a dream for the future. All of it flows with ease. The light-hearted banter carries them through the night, a soothing reminder that even in the quiet simplicity of everyday life, there is much to appreciate. Sesha smiles as he listens, feeling the weight of the day lift from his shoulders with each passing moment. These simple gatherings, these moments of connection, are the threads that weave the fabric of life, quiet, meaningful, and full of gentle joy. There is nothing to be fixed, no problems to solve, just a shared understanding of life's simple pleasures. As the lanterns burn low and the evening draws to a close, Sesha feels a deep sense of contentment. He rises from the table, his friends offering their farewells, their smiles warm and sincere. The conversation has been light, but it has left him feeling calm and renewed, as all good moments of connection do. With a final wave, Sesha steps back into the cool night air, the streets quiet and peaceful around him. His heart is light, his mind at ease, and he walks home slowly, savouring the calm of the evening. The day has come to an end, and tomorrow will bring with it its own quiet rhythm. But for now there is nothing but the peace of the night, the warmth of friendship, and the soft glow of lantern light fading into the distance. As the night settles in, the air cools and the world outside becomes quieter. The day's tasks, though completed with care, have now come to their gentle end. The house is peaceful, with the soft rustle of the evening breeze drifting through the window. Inside, Sesha and his family prepare for the final quiet ritual of the day, the simple, nourishing act of sharing a meal together. Sesha enters the dining area, and the table is set with calm simplicity. The scent of warm food fills the room, a comforting aroma that marks the end of a long day. There is no elaborate spread, just simple, hearty dishes that reflect the steady rhythm of daily life. The meal is modest, but there is a quiet warmth in its preparation. Freshly baked bread, a small bowl of stewed vegetables, a plate of tender meat, and a pitcher of cool water sit on the table, ready to be shared. Sesha takes a seat at the table, his body still from the day's work. He takes a moment to breathe deeply, appreciating the peaceful stillness of the moment. The sounds of the household have softened. No more chatter or bustling of tasks, only the quiet clink of utensils, the soft scrape of plates, and the gentle hum of his family's presence remain. With slow, thoughtful movements, Sesha begins to serve himself. He cuts a piece of the warm bread, feeling its softness between his fingers, and places it on his plate. He fills his bowl with the rich, fragrant stew, the steam rising gently, carrying the scent of vegetables and herbs. The meat is tender, perfectly cooked, and Sesha takes a moment to appreciate the simplicity and warmth of the meal before him. Each bite is satisfying, a quiet reminder of the nourishing rhythm of the day. There is no rush in this meal. Sesha eats slowly, savouring each taste, each texture. He feels the warmth of the food spread through him, a contrast to the coolness of the night air outside. The meal is a simple one, but it provides a deep sense of contentment, as if everything is in its proper place. As he eats, Sesha reflects on the quiet comfort of this time. The table is a space for rest and reconnection. The hum of the evening continues in the background, but here, at the table, there is a stillness that is comforting. The day's work is behind him, and now, in this quiet moment, there is nothing but the peaceful act of eating, the simple pleasure of sharing a meal with those he loves. The conversation, soft and unhurried, flows around the table as his family joins him. His wife shares a small story from the day, and the children recount their thoughts, their voices quiet and content. The words are gentle, the tone reflective, as the family gathers in the calmness of the evening. There are no grand discussions, no urgent topics, just the shared understanding of the day's end and the simple comfort of being together. As the meal winds down, Sesha feels a deep sense of gratitude. The day may have been full of work and routine, but now, in this quiet space, there is only peace. He places his utensils down, feeling the warmth of the food still within him, and takes a moment to appreciate the stillness around him. The house is quiet now, with only the faintest sound of his family moving about, preparing to wind down for the night. The meal has been simple, yet its significance is felt deeply. In the quiet of the evening, after a long day, there is peace in the shared act of eating. There is contentment in the gentle flow of time, in the rhythm of the family coming together at the table. It is a small moment, but one that holds the weight of love, rest, and quiet satisfaction. With the meal complete, Sesha stands and quietly clears the table. There is no rush, only the peaceful transition into the next part of the evening. The world outside continues to move in its own way, but here, within the walls of the home, there is nothing but the calm, the comfort, and the peace of the night. The night has deepened, and the quiet calm of the evening wraps around Sesha like a soft blanket. The day, with its steady rhythm and quiet tasks, has come to its natural close, and now, as the moonlight spills softly through the window, it is time to prepare for rest. Sesha rises from his chair, his body tired but content from the work of the day. The house is still, the air cool and gentle. He walks toward the small basin in the corner, the soft click of his footsteps on the stone floor the only sound in the otherwise silent room. The cool water in the basin reflects the dim light of the lantern, and as Sesha dips his hands into the water, he feels its refreshing touch. With slow, deliberate movements, he washes his face, the water easing away the weariness of the day. Each splash is calming, grounding him in the present moment, washing away the thoughts of work and responsibility. The room is filled with the quiet sounds of his movements, and the steady flow of water brings a sense of serenity to the evening. Sesha breathes deeply, inhaling the cool air, allowing his body to relax further. He feels the last traces of the day's tension melt away as he dries his face with a soft cloth. His movements unhurried, mindful of the peaceful transition from work to rest. After finishing, Sesha turns toward his small bed, its simple linen sheets waiting for him. He moves slowly, no longer in the rush of the day's tasks, but now moving toward the stillness of the night. The bed is neat, the covers carefully folded, and the soft scent of clean linen fills the air. The room has taken on a tranquil quiet, a silence that feels complete. Sesha sits on the edge of the bed for a moment, his body still, his hands resting gently on his lap. He looks around the room, taking in the simplicity of it all. The quiet corners, the soft glow of the dim lantern, the faint hum of the outside world. There is peace here, in this quiet space, and it fills him with a quiet sense of contentment. He then lies back on the bed, pulling the covers over him slowly, savouring the comfort of the soft sheets. His body sinks gently into the mattress, and he closes his eyes for a moment, taking in the quiet of the room. The only sound now is the soft, rhythmic beat of his own heart, the faint whispers of the night drifting in from the window. The air is cool, but the blankets are warm, wrapping him in their gentle embrace. Sesha feels the weight of the day ease away, replaced by a peaceful, still quiet. As he lies there, his thoughts begin to slow, each one fading gently into the background. There is no need to think of tomorrow's tasks yet, for now there is only the calm of the night. His body relaxes further, each breath deeper and slower. The room around him is still, and Sesha feels himself sinking deeper into the calm of the moment. His eyelids flutter gently, and his breathing becomes softer, more steady, as sleep begins to take its quiet hold. In the stillness of the night, Sesha feels his body completely relax, the comfort of the bed, the softness of the blankets, and the quiet of the world around him guiding him gently into sleep. There are no distractions, no rushing thoughts, only the peaceful flow of the evening leading him into a restful, deep sleep. And as the night settles in, everything is still, everything is calm, and Sesha drifts off, carried away by the soft rhythm of sleep, ready for the new day that will come when the morning light returns. The room is bathed in the soft, muted light of the moon, its gentle glow casting long shadows across the floor. The quiet of the night has settled in completely, with only the faintest sound of the wind rustling outside the window. Sesha lies in bed, the warmth of the blankets enveloping him, his body relaxed and at ease after the steady rhythm of the day. The world outside is still, and inside there is a deep sense of calm. As he lies there, his mind begins to wander gently through the events of the day. There is no rush to sort through everything, no urgency to think or analyze. It is a slow, peaceful reflection, a quiet musing on the tasks he has completed and the moments he has lived through. Sesha allows his thoughts to drift, taking note of the simplicity and beauty that each moment held, even in the smallest of tasks. He recalls the steady flow of his work, the way the brush felt in his hand as he wrote, the soft click of the papyrus as he unrolled it, the calm rhythm of his movements as he copied the ancient texts and recorded the kingdom's transactions. These were not extraordinary moments, yet they were filled with purpose. In each small act, there was meaning, and as he reflects, Sesha feels a quiet satisfaction in having contributed, however modestly, to the larger workings of the world around him. His thoughts shift to the moments of connection, the brief but meaningful conversation with his colleagues, the quiet time spent with his family, and the shared meal at the end of the day. These moments too were woven into the fabric of his life, gentle reminders of the people and relationships that give each day its shape. There is a soft warmth in thinking of these connections, and Sesha feels a deep gratitude for the simple, peaceful exchanges he shared with those around him. As his mind continues to gently reflect on the events of the day, he finds himself thinking of tomorrow. But there is no pressure to think too deeply, no need to worry about the tasks yet to come. Tomorrow will unfold in its own time, and Sesha knows that when the new day arrives, he will meet it with the same steady rhythm, the same quiet focus. For now, the day is complete, and there is peace in that. Sesha takes a deep, slow breath, feeling his body sink further into the softness of the bed. The quiet of the night wraps around him, and his mind becomes still, the reflections of the day fading into the soft hum of the present moment. There is no need to rush, no need to hold onto anything from the day. The work is done, the tasks are complete, and the simple rhythm of life continues, peaceful and unhurried. As he lies there, his thoughts quieting, Sesha feels a deep sense of calm. The day has come to a close, and with it, the small moments of reflection bring a sense of contentment. Tomorrow will bring more of the same, quiet tasks, steady work, and peaceful moments shared with those he loves. But for now, Sesha allows himself to let go of all thoughts and simply rest, knowing that he has done his part and that peace will carry him through the night. With a soft exhale, Sesha closes his eyes, allowing the stillness of the night to take over. His breathing slows, the rhythm of the day fading into the quiet of sleep. And as he drifts off, the world outside continues on, steady and calm, just as it always does, while Sesha rests peacefully, ready for whatever tomorrow may bring. The night has fully embraced the world outside, with the soft glow of the moon casting its gentle light through the window. The room is still, the air cool and quiet. Sesha lies beneath the soft blankets, his body now completely relaxed, his thoughts quiet and slow. The day has ended, and with it, the rhythm of the world outside fades into the background, leaving only the peaceful serenity of the night. Sesha's breathing is steady, each breath deeper than the last as he sinks further into the comfort of his bed. His muscles, once carrying the weight of the day's tasks, now release all tension. There is no hurry, no sense of urgency. His body, having worked through the day, now feels light and at ease. The pillow beneath his head is soft, and the sheets are cool against his skin, offering a quiet comfort that eases him into stillness. The room is calm, the soft rustle of the night's quiet echoing faintly through the air. Outside, the world is wrapped in its own rhythm, distant sounds of the wind, the occasional chirp of a night creature, but inside the room, there is only peace. The small flicker of the lantern has long since been extinguished, and now only the darkness remains, enveloping Sesha in a calm embrace. He lets go of any lingering thoughts, allowing them to fade away like soft wisps in the night air. There is nothing to do, nowhere to be. The work of the day is complete, and now, in the stillness, there is only the quiet expectation of rest. Tomorrow will come in its own time, bringing with it its own gentle rhythm. But for now, there is no need to think of it. The body and mind, having fulfilled their duties, are ready for rest. Sesha feels his body relax even further, his breathing slowing as the peaceful quiet of the night fills him. His eyelids flutter gently, and a soft, contented sigh escapes his lips. The comfort of the bed, the peace of the room, and the stillness of the night invite him into sleep. There is no anxiety, no worry, only the smooth, calm passage into rest. As he lies there, His thoughts become like soft clouds, floating away with each breath. The room is now a cocoon of comfort, the world outside distant and quiet, and all that remains is the deep, soothing pull of sleep. Sesha welcomes the embrace of rest, knowing that when he awakens he will be renewed, ready for whatever the new day may bring. But for now, there is only the deep, peaceful sleep, a sleep that will refresh him for the rhythms of tomorrow. The night continues its gentle course, the world turning slowly around him. Sesha's body is still, his mind quiet, and sleep comes softly like a warm, comforting blanket. The day has ended, and now the night is a time for rest, quiet, uninterrupted, and filled with peaceful calm. And in this tranquility, Sesha drifts off, his thoughts slowing, his body resting, ready to embrace the serenity of sleep and the gentle promise of tomorrow. As the first light of dawn gently creeps across the sky, the world begins to stir, though slowly and quietly. The air is still, cool with the promise of a new day, and Sesha lies in the warmth of his bed, his body still wrapped in the comfort of sleep's embrace. The night has been peaceful, and now, as the soft rays of the sun begin to filter through the window, it is time to greet the quiet beginning of another day. Sesha wakes slowly, his eyes opening to the soft golden glow of the morning light. For a moment he lies still, allowing the tranquility of the morning to settle around him. The world outside is just beginning to come to life, but here, in this quiet space, there is only peace. He takes a deep, slow breath, filling his lungs with the fresh air that enters the room with the first light. The birds outside have begun their quiet song, their soft chirps carrying on the morning breeze. The stillness of the room, the quiet rustling of the sheets as he shifts, all create a sense of gentle rhythm, like the start of a slow-moving river that will carry him through the day. There is no rush, no urgency to begin, only the soft, comforting pull of the new morning. Sesha rises from the bed, his movements slow and deliberate, taking his time to embrace the peacefulness of the morning. He stretches gently, allowing his body to adjust to the new day, feeling the calm flow of energy that comes from the quiet act of waking. The coolness of the air greets him as he moves toward the small window, gazing out at the soft light of the rising sun. The world is still, the sky painted in soft hues of orange and pink, and Sesha feels a quiet sense of gratitude for this new day, the promise it holds, and the peace it brings. He moves toward his simple morning routine, washing his face with cool water, feeling its refreshing touch on his skin. The gentle splash of water, the soft rhythm of his actions, bring a sense of clarity and calm. Each movement is thoughtful, unhurried, as if he is savoring the stillness of the moment before the day truly begins. Afterward, he prepares himself for the day ahead, but there is no rush. The tasks of the day will come in their own time. Sesha takes a moment to reflect on the quiet simplicity of this routine, how it marks the beginning of each new day. The sun rises steadily, and with it, the certainty that the rhythm of life will continue, gentle, unhurried, and full of small, meaningful moments. Sesha takes his time, knowing that these small moments of peace, these quiet transitions between rest and activity, are what set the tone for the day. He knows that the day will unfold just as it should. There will be work to do, tasks to complete, but for now, he is content in the simplicity of this moment. The morning light grows brighter, and with it, Sesha feels ready to face whatever the day brings, knowing that it will be filled with the same peaceful routine that has shaped each of his days. As he finishes preparing for the day, Sesha steps outside, taking in the cool morning air. The quiet of the world outside still holds, and for a moment he stands still, breathing in the calm of the morning. There is no rush to go anywhere, no need to hurry. The day is fresh, the possibilities open, and Sesha feels a deep sense of peace, knowing that whatever lies ahead, it will come in its own time. The world is just beginning to wake, but for now, there's only the quiet calm of a new day, steady, peaceful, and full of the promise of simple, meaningful moments to come. The morning light has fully entered the room, casting its soft glow across the stone walls. The air is still cool, with the gentle promise of a quiet day ahead. Outside, the world continues to wake, but within the walls of his small room, Sesha is settled into his familiar routine. The tasks of the day stretch before him, but for now there is only the steady, calm rhythm of work. Sesha sits at his desk once again, the quiet hum of the world outside a soft, distant presence. His tools are all in place, the ink jar, the brush, the rolls of papyrus, and the familiar weight of the day's first task rests before him. He dips his brush into the ink, watching as the dark liquid coats the fine bristles. The first stroke on the papyrus feels like the beginning of a slow, steady river, each movement flowing gently into the next. The task at hand is simple but necessary. Sesha has spent many hours doing this, writing, copying documents, recording the kingdom's affairs. The work is repetitive, yet there is a peacefulness in its predictability. He copies one word at a time, his hand moving in steady, measured strokes. The symbols are familiar, each one a small but important part of the kingdom's ongoing story. The act of copying is like breathing, steady and rhythmic, marking the passage of time in small, meaningful moments. As the brush moves across the papyrus, Sesha's mind remains calm. The room is quiet. The only sounds, the gentle scratch of the brush on paper, and the soft, slow flow of his thoughts. There is no rush, no need to hurry through the work. He simply writes, each symbol placed carefully on the page, forming the kingdom's records, one line at a time. The repetition of it is soothing. Each day brings the same tasks, but each task is important, each document a small piece of the larger puzzle that keeps the kingdom in motion. The rhythm of the work carries Sesha through the morning, each stroke a quiet affirmation of his role. He moves steadily, methodically, and with quiet satisfaction. The day continues to unfold outside, but here, in the stillness of his room, time seems to stretch. The work may be repetitive, but there is peace in that, in the knowledge that it is done with care, that each document will serve its purpose in the world beyond the walls of his room. Sesha pauses every so often to stretch, to adjust the position of the papyrus, but the flow of the work remains uninterrupted. There is no need to think of anything else. The present moment is enough. The soft light of the morning streams through the window, casting long shadows across the table, and Sesha feels a deep sense of gratitude for the simplicity of the task at hand. There is no rush, no hurry to finish. He simply writes, each symbol, each word, a small contribution to the ongoing life of the kingdom. The work continues, copying, recording, transcribing, and with it, the steady rhythm of Sesha's day. The world outside may change, but here, within these walls, the tasks remain the same, and that brings a quiet sense of comfort. Time moves slowly in this room, and Sesha welcomes it, knowing that each small act is part of something larger, part of a world that moves forward in its own peaceful, unhurried way. As the day stretches on, Sesha continues his work, the steady rhythm of his brush guiding him through each line. The repetition of it, the calm predictability of it all, creates a sense of peace. There is no need to rush, no need to think ahead. The present moment is enough, and Sesha feels a quiet satisfaction in knowing that he is part of something important, even in these small, seemingly unremarkable tasks. The morning passes quietly, and the steady work continues. Sesha is at peace, moving through the tasks of the day with calm focus, each stroke of the brush another small, meaningful part of the kingdom's ongoing story. The day continues in its slow, peaceful rhythm, the sunlight filtering softly through the window, casting long, gentle shadows across the room. Sesha sits once again at his desk, the familiar tools of his trade laid before him, brush, ink, and papyrus. Today, the task ahead of him is slightly different than usual. He must write about important events, documenting the moments that have shaped the life of the kingdom, small or large. The task is a quiet one, but it carries weight. These events are more than just words on a page. They are the stories that make up the fabric of life in the kingdom, the moments that will eventually be remembered as history. Sesha takes a deep, slow breath, feeling the gravity of this responsibility. But there is no rush. There is only the gentle rhythm of his movements, the steady, unhurried pace of the day. He dips his brush into the ink, feeling the cool liquid coat the bristles. The first stroke on the papyrus is deliberate, marking the beginning of the recording. The words come slowly but steadily as he writes down the events of the day. The arrival of the merchants from the southern region, bringing new goods and spices to trade. His hand moves across the paper, careful and precise, each symbol flowing naturally from one to the next. It is a simple event, but it is important, a small piece of the daily life of the kingdom. Sesha pauses for a moment, reflecting on the significance of the event. It is easy to see these moments as small or unimportant, but they are the building blocks of life. Without the trade and the exchange of goods, the kingdom would not function as it does. The simple act of writing this down, of recording it for posterity, feels meaningful. He feels connected to the past, present and future of the kingdom, all through this quiet, solitary act. He continues writing, his brush strokes steady and calm. A new law passed regarding trade regulations, ensuring fairness in pricing and transactions. This, too, is an event that will affect the kingdom, a small but important shift in the way things are done. Sesha's hand moves without hesitation, each word a quiet step toward preserving the history of the day. There is peace in the work, no pressure to write quickly, no urgency to finish. Each event is recorded thoughtfully as it happens, without embellishment or haste. The room remains still, the soft scratching of the brush against the papyrus the only sound. Sesha's thoughts drift gently as he writes, reflecting on the role he plays in this quiet recording of life. He is not simply transcribing events, he is preserving them for future generations, a small but important link in the chain of history. As the morning stretches on, Sesha continues to write. He records a visit from a neighbouring village's representative who brought news of a successful harvest. He writes of a new law passed, ensuring better care for the kingdom's animals. These events, though small in the grand scheme of things, are the moments that will eventually build the kingdom's story. And in this peaceful task, Sesha feels a quiet sense of fulfillment. He is part of something larger than himself, and that knowledge brings him a deep, comforting peace. The work continues slowly and steadily, the brush moving gently across the page, each word a quiet reflection of the day's events. Sesha feels the steady rhythm of his work calm his thoughts, the small moments of life unfolding before him. There is no rush, no hurry, just the soft, deliberate act of preserving the events that shape the kingdom's life. As he writes the final lines, Sesha sits back for a moment, his eyes scanning the papyrus. The events of the day are recorded, the history of the kingdom captured in simple, neat symbols. The task is complete, and yet Sesha feels no need to hurry on to the next thing. The work is done, and the day continues to unfold in its peaceful rhythm. With a soft exhale, Sesha sets his brush down, satisfied with the work. The kingdom's history, as it stands for this moment, has been carefully recorded. The room is still, the gentle light of the day continuing to stream through the window. Sesha takes one last look at the papyrus, feeling content in knowing that his quiet work has contributed to something lasting. The morning light spills softly into the room, casting a gentle glow on the stone walls. The world outside is quiet, the sounds of the day still distant, but inside this small, familiar space, there is only peace. The room, bathed in the calm of the early hours, remains undisturbed, its stillness reflecting the quiet rhythm of the work that takes place here. Sesha stands for a moment, taking in the space. His desk, neatly arranged with the familiar tools, brush, ink and papyrus, sits in front of him, waiting for the steady rhythm of the day's task to begin. The room is simple, but it is filled with purpose. There are no distractions here, no noise, no interruptions. The world beyond these walls continues to move at its own pace, but within the confines of this room, time seems to slow and everything exists in perfect harmony. The soft rustling of Sesha's movements fills the room as he sits down at the desk, but even that is quiet, almost imperceptible. His hand reaches for the brush, dipping it into the ink with a smooth, practiced motion. The sound of the brush meeting the papyrus is soft, the only noise in the room. Each stroke is deliberate, each symbol carefully placed, as Sesha continues the routine that has become so familiar, so comforting. There is no rush, no urgency, just the steady rhythm of his work, uninterrupted by the outside world. The room remains still, a serene haven where the pace of the day is set by the quiet flow of Sesha's work. The sounds of the outside world, distant voices, the rustle of leaves, the passing of time, are nothing but a soft murmur beyond the walls. Here, in the space where Sesha works, there is only silence and the steady, calming repetition of writing. It is a routine that Sesha knows well. It is a routine that allows him to lose himself in the peaceful task at hand, a rhythm that carries him through the hours without the interference of the noise or rush of the world beyond. The room itself feels as though it is a world unto itself, separate from the outside. The soft flicker of the oil lamp in the corner adds a sense of warmth, but it is quiet, unobtrusive. The desk, the papyrus, the ink, all are arranged with care, reflecting the peaceful, focused work that takes place here. Sesha's hands move steadily, his brush gliding smoothly over the papyrus, each stroke contributing to the larger flow of work, but it is done in such a way that there is no sense of hurry. The silence in the room is not empty. It is full, rich with the purpose of the task being carried out. The stillness is not an absence, but a presence, a comforting space where time moves at its own pace, undisturbed by the demands of the world outside. There is no need for conversation, no need for action beyond the quiet task at hand. The world beyond may change, but here, in this small room, the routine of work is constant, unhurried, and peaceful. As Sesha continues his work, he feels a deep connection to this space. It is a sanctuary, a place where the outside world cannot intrude. The rhythm of his work becomes a quiet meditation, each symbol on the papyrus an expression of calm, each stroke of the brush a small part of the steady, unbroken flow of time. The routine is comforting, and in the quiet of the room Sesha finds solace, his mind and body grounded in the peaceful task before him. The outside world may continue to move, but in this space, in this moment, there is only the gentle rhythm of the work, the steady quiet of the room, and the peaceful stillness that allows everything to unfold in its own time. The day will pass, and Sesha will continue his work, but for now, there is only the calm and tranquility of this small, quiet space, a place untouched by the rush of the world outside. The day has gradually reached its end, and the soft golden light of the setting sun spills into the room, casting a calm glow on the walls. The quiet rhythm of Sesha's work has filled the hours, the steady stroke of the brush, the soft rustling of papyrus, and the peaceful stillness that envelops him. Now, as the final moments of the day draw near, there is a quiet sense of completion. The tasks that he set out to accomplish have been carefully done, and it is time to ensure that everything is in its proper place, that everything is as it should be before the day fades into night. Sesha stands at his desk for a moment, his eyes scanning the room with a quiet attention. His hands, steady and sure, begin the gentle task of putting everything in order. He picks up the empty ink jar and sets it aside, wiping down the surface of the desk, ensuring that it is clean and neat. Each small act is done with the same calm deliberation that has guided him throughout the day. The task may seem small, but to Sesha, it is important, a final gesture of care and attention, ensuring that the workspace is left in perfect order. He places the papyrus scrolls into their proper places, stacking them neatly, making sure that nothing is left out of place. The tools of his trade, the brush, the pen, are cleaned and carefully set aside, ready for the next day's work. Sesha's hands move slowly, methodically, as he arranges everything with care. There is no rush, no need to hurry. It is a simple task, but it brings a sense of peace, knowing that the day has ended with everything in its proper place. As he finishes arranging his workspace, Seisha takes a moment to step back and look around. The room is still, the gentle light of the evening casting long shadows across the stone floor. Everything is in order, neat, calm and undisturbed. There's a deep sense of satisfaction in the quiet routine of tidying up, in knowing that the day's work has been completed with care and attention. The room, once filled with the energy of the day's tasks, now feels peaceful and still, a perfect reflection of the quiet end to the day. Seisha breathes in deeply, allowing the calm of the evening to settle around him. His mind is clear, the work is done, and everything is in order. There's no need for anything more. The day has unfolded as it should, and now it is time to let go, to embrace the stillness of the night. With a final glance around the room, Seisha makes his way to the door, his movements slow and deliberate, taking in the peaceful atmosphere that surrounds him. The world outside continues in its own rhythm, but inside there is only the calm, the quiet, and the satisfaction of a day well spent. Seisha closes the door gently behind him, the soft click of the latch marking the end of the day. The work is done, everything is in its place, and the room remains still, waiting for the quiet rest of the night. As he steps away from the room, Seisha feels a quiet contentment. The day has been completed with care and precision, each task done with attention and focus. The night stretches ahead, calm and peaceful, and he feels ready for the rest that comes after a day of quiet work. As the evening draws near, a gentle stillness settles over the room, the fading light of the day casting soft shadows across the stone floor. Seisha takes a deep, quiet breath, standing by his window, looking out at the peaceful landscape beyond. The world outside continues its slow, steady pace, just as it always has. The evening air is cool and calm, carrying with it the sense of closing, of one day slipping softly into the next. Seisha's thoughts turn inward as he reflects on the simple life he leads, the rhythm of each day marked by quiet, meaningful routines. The work has been steady, each task, though small, important in its own right. He has written, recorded, and preserved the kingdom's history with his own careful hand. Yet, as he stands in this moment, looking out at the quiet world, he feels no need for grandeur. The simplicity of his work, the peacefulness of the tasks he completes, have become the essence of his life. The day's work, though important, feels distant now, nothing more than a series of steady moments, quietly building towards something much larger than himself. But in this stillness, Seisha finds peace. It is not the recognition of great achievements that fills him, but the quiet satisfaction of knowing that each small task has been done with care. Each stroke of the brush, each document recorded, has played its part in the ongoing life of the kingdom, and in that knowledge there is a profound sense of contentment. Seisha turns away from the window and walks slowly toward his desk, where the tools of his trade are neatly arranged. The papyrus is still, the ink jar waiting patiently for tomorrow's work. The brush, cleaned and set aside, rests quietly, ready for the next day's task. There is something deeply satisfying in seeing everything in its place, every task finished, and every item set for tomorrow. The routine of his work has become a form of comfort, a rhythm that marks the days, steady and unhurried. He pauses for a moment, allowing himself to take in the calm simplicity of his surroundings. The room is filled with quiet peace, the kind that comes from a day spent in simple, focused effort. There is no rush, no need for anything more. Everything is as it should be. Seisha feels the weight of the day's work dissolve into the stillness of the evening. The world outside may continue to turn, but in this space there is only calm, only quiet reflection. The peaceful nature of his work, the steady rhythm of writing, recording, and reflecting, has become the foundation of his life. And as Seisha stands there, reflecting on the simplicity of it all, he realizes that it is this simple life, filled with routine and meaning, that brings him the greatest peace. It is not the complexity of life that holds value, but the small, meaningful moments that make up each day. With a soft sigh, Sasha closes his eyes for a moment, allowing the calm of the room to wash over him. The work is done, and the day is complete. Tomorrow will come with its own tasks, but for now, there is only the quiet of the night, the peacefulness of a life well lived, and the gentle rhythm of his thoughts as they drift toward sleep.